Welcome to our very own special Amphibia True Colors review. My name is Nate, and alongside is my good buddy Omid.
Hey, what's up, fellow amphibians? How y'all doing?
Yeah, don't say our usual loud card and Casa Crypt, because this is actually not our typical Loud House, Loud Casa Talks, or any of our episode reviews or previews that we've always been doing like every week so far. Today we're actually in a whole different land. We're not even in like Royal Woods or Great Lake City. This is Newtopia. How awesome is this place, by the way? You know, I mean, like all the nudes that we have to talk about, right? It's so rich and vast. I saw the princess there.
So grand.
King Andrias was right there, you know, just having a fun time. But you know what though? I saw like there's something crazy that happened a couple weeks ago where like a castle was lifted up. Some epic fighting was happening. I think I saw a frog that like fell down from the castle. Apparently, a bird was able to rescue him. But wow, this was just an epic day of things that happened here in Newtopia.
Yeah, like honestly, you know, like it was literally castle in the sky. Literally.
Like the anime castle in the sky. I see what you're trying to put there. I see what you're trying to do there. But yeah, this is okay. So this is not our old typical Loud Casa Talks, which we always do. This is our very special Amphibia True Colors review special. Of course, besides the fact that we love Loud House and Casa Grandes, we actually want to like spread out and actually review other shows that are also really awesome to us. So when Amphibia dropped for us, we both loved how it is. And today we're actually repping it. Omid is actually repping it today. Look at his shirt. Woody the and the literally pad thigh and here.
Look at that. And such in its unique art style too. Look at that. Beautiful.
Really cute. It's really cute, I must say. Yes. All right, so we'll thank you everybody for checking out the stream, but let's actually get into it. So this is totally a different world we've landed in. Yes, I know that. So first off, today we're going to be talking about True Colors, which is the episode finale of Amphibia, season 2 finale of Amphibia, which I would say was pretty epic. Omid, what were your initial thoughts when you saw True Colors?
Now, of course, the very moment we've seen those two words come out of Amphibia's schedule and revealed to be the season finale, I was beyond hyped, beyond excited, because the words True Colors can mean anything, whether it be a character revealing something dark about themselves or something related to the colored gems in the Calamity Box. Now, I've seen this episode, and oh my frog, it exceeded all my expectations, and it pulled off the two possibilities I just pointed out in flying colors.
Wow, that's just amazing.
Now, the amount of risk. It's just the amount of risk, the amount of strong writing, the amount of emotional depth, the amount of plot twists, the amount of layers, the amount of detail to animation, the amount of everything made this episode a true masterpiece that brought the whole show to its peak. Now, in terms of Disney Channel episodes overall, my other favorite Disney Channel episodes are Not What He Seems from Gravity Falls, Understanding Willow from the Owl House, Whatever Happened to Della Duck from DuckTales 2017, and of course, every single Gloria episode from Big City Greens. And in terms of where True Colors stands, it leaves most of them in the dust. It's that amazing. The only episode that is still head-to-head in terms of being Disney's TVA's best episode to date is Not What He Seems.
Okay, so the thing is that Amphibia in season 1, I just like first thought of it just like a regular old typical show of a girl that just went into an amphibian world and is pretty much like looking for her friends. And throughout season 1, it was just mostly like them and Anne and the Plantars just doing whatever. Then you see Sasha, then epic things happen. And I think like from the end of season 1 into season 2 is when I got really interested. And then I like get hooked into season 2 because everything about it, from like the small little episodes to one of the big episodes to another small episode to a big episode. It's pretty much like a whole roller coaster of just like something good and then something good, something okay, something good, something better, something best. And then it all leads up to the finale of True Colors. And I was like, okay, so all of this epic things happen in True Colors. And I'm like, oh God, okay, this is cool. And there was just so many things that came up to it. Like, we had a delay. which makes sense. We were going to be talking about why the delay was there. But when we actually watched the show from the delay, it looks so much, how do I say this? Like so epic, so tragic, because you think that it was going to be the end of the show because all three girls are going to come back. No, go back to home. But no, it's not. It wasn't the case. There's just so many things that happened there. It was just all good. Look, my reactions for this finale, because the thing is, like, I have not actually like really thought it through. I thought it would just be like there's somebody who's going to like backstab in the back, which somebody did. You were going to expect the Toads to actually take over Newtopia, which was their original plan the whole entire time, and it actually happened. And trying to get back home. Technically, Anne, Sasha, and Marcy were supposed to go home, and no, it's not happening that way. Instead, we actually have something more epic coming into season 3 that we can't wait to see now. It's just so good, but.
It turns out things are not as simple as they seem, you know.
Yeah, it's not as simple as it seems. So sit back and relax. We're actually going to be talking about pretty much like how we got into Amphibia, all the key highlighting points of season 1 and 2, and then obviously we have to review True Colors, and then of course we also did get the introduction to season 3, which means we're also going to be doing our predictions of like how will season 3 will be running. Which, by the way, I'm getting myself set. I got myself some mint chocolate chip ice cream in the ready. So
eat those feels away, man. Eat those. Eat that minty feels away, man.
It's for her. It was for her. Yeah. It was so good.
Respect, man. Respect, bro.
Look, if anybody's watching on our stream, if you guys want to get your mint chocolate chip ice creams out, you can, because we're going to be talking about that.
Honestly, because of this, I actually stopped by Baskin Robbins one time and got a mint chocolate chip ice cream cone.
And how did it feel? So sad, right?
Oh, why?
Said she's your favorite girl.
It's my favorite girl. It's my favorite girl, man. Why can't Andrias do it like that, man?
King Andrias. Now we have to actually like be suspicious of like what's happening here in Newtopia.
King Andrias is the imposter. King Andrias is sus.
He has been sus throughout the whole season 2, and we just never actually knew like what his plan was until the show True Colors came out. So feel great.
Like Olivia, Yunan, and Marcy, Sasha are crewmates. Andrias was the imposter all along.
And he was suspicious throughout the whole entire thing. This was a bad game of Among Us, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, pretty much. Because you would think that Sasha and Grime were the imposters, but it turns out Andrias is the imposter.
I got a lot of things to say about Sasha, by the way. I'm like, yes, no. Do I hate her? Do I love her? Hate her or love her? It's something weird about Sasha, by the way. I'm like, right now, I'm like, I love her because you're gonna save you got to save all of Amphibia, right? Or you're gonna backstab us again, like you did with Anne. I think with her is like, what's going on with her? I'm like, okay, so
she's not going to. This time.
You hope so. I hope so, because Sasha has been like that one person who's been like the jerk to Anne if you actually watch like her backstory and stuff. Anyways, let's actually forget all the small talk. Let's actually head over to how we got into the show, because first off, the show was pretty interesting. A girl joining in Frog World, looks like she was having a fun time, and of course, it's 3 best friends who gets teleported and they need to find their way home. So my thing is, So the synopsis here. Here's how I would say it. Actually, it's like a new show on Disney Channel, debuted in 2019, all about a girl named Anne Boonchoy, who's sent to another world full of frogs in a land called Amphibia. She's not alone. Her friends Sasha and Marcy also landed as well in Amphibia, but in separate areas of Amphibia. And now it's up to Anne to find Sasha and Marcy and figure out their way out of Amphibia and back home to where it belongs. So that was like a whole made-up synopsis. Omi, when you first heard about this show, how did the show pique your interest?
Now, when I saw it first glance, I was very excited about it, of course, since, nowadays, Disney Channel is on a huge roll recently with its amazing and wide variety of great cartoons. As I previously mentioned before, Gravity Falls, DuckTales 2017, Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure, Big City Greens, Amphibia, and now Owl House. It's just they got a like pretty much it's just an amazing and wide variety, like I said. Now the poster itself, when you take a first glance at the poster, it may seem like it's now when you take a look at the poster itself, it may seem like it's going to be the typical silly cartoon about a girl with talking frogs. But when you watch this show thoroughly, it shows that there's more to this cartoon that meets the eye.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like when I first saw the trailer and I first saw the poster, and it felt like it was like something new from Disney Channel. But the thing is, like, they have never failed when it comes to shows that pop out from Disney Channel. Like, I mean, you could probably look back at the Disney XD shows that they put out. They were I think the last show that I didn't actually like was like Star vs. the Force of Evil, and it was good at the beginning. It was good at the beginning, and then it started to like decline.
It had the ball. It had it right in its hands. It really had quality. It had potential. But then Starco took it away. Starco took it all away and just threw it out the window. It's like, yep, all gone.
This is my reason why we don't like talking about Star vs. the Force of Evil. But there was other shows that in Disney Channel that I like kind of was interested in. Like Big City Greens was the one that got me back into Disney Channel. DuckTales, of course, because of the whole nostalgia factor, but I wasn't a huge fan of DuckTales, to say the least. Then like I said, Disney XD had their shows that felt weird. Like they had some animated shows that looked like weird. Pickle and Peanut, for example. I thought that was really weird.
Pickle and Peanut. See, the thing with Pickle and Peanut, Pickle and Peanut is that it looks like something that belongs more along the lines of Nickelodeon than Disney Channel.
Right. So my thing is that how I got myself into Amphibia is the fact that like when I first started watching Big City Greens, they were already debuting Amphibia. So I started to check it out. Thought it was pretty cool. First episode was actually pretty cool. The fact that like Anne got teleported to an amphibian world, and then we also get to see like the goal that Anne is trying to do, like get her friends and get them out of Amphibia. So that was a cool like setup of like how Amphibia is going to be. And yeah, that's how I got myself like interested in like how the story was going to go. So this came at a time where like some of these shows are about to like leave, like some of Disney Channel shows are about to leave, like DuckTales 2017. They're about to head up to their final episodes. Rapunzel, I think, ended as well during this time.
It ended in 2020, February 2020.
Okay, but still though, it's in its final episode. It was in its final episodes. So would you say Amphibia was the next best show to fill the void?
Yes, absolutely. Because this show, like the other shows that we just mentioned, have the same strengths, they have the same charm, they have the same wide variety of unforgettable characters, pretty much everything that makes modern Disney TVA an entire cartoon renaissance.
Yeah, I would say so too, because look, we have our next big three of Disney Channel right now. We have Big City Greens, we have Owl House, we have Amphibia, and I believe these three are actually really good. Like, if you want a slice of life cartoon, you got Big City Greens. If you want a more adventurous cartoon, you got Amphibia. If you want like a whole lot of like adventure, that's Owl House. Because I believe like Owl House is actually running that way right now. We're just like so much adventure. There's so much things to impact that I believe the Owl House is like where it's at right now, where everybody's watching. But then you gotta watch it. We gotta watch for Amphibia too, because they are actually starting to become like the big cartoon right now. And knowing that the third season is possibly the last season, your eyes gonna be focused on like what Amphibia is gonna be all about.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, from the first episode, did it already get your interest?
Yes, it did. It got me wanting more. The moment I saw first episode, I thought to myself, this looks promising. This has great potential to actually be, really good show. And of course, it lived up to my expectations. Like the more I kept watching Amphibia, the more I was loving it.
So I have to be honest with y'all. When I watched the first episode, it was cool. Like, yeah, you see Anne and the planters, Anne pretty much living with the planters. But the thing is, like, how's the story going to go? Because you also have to look for Marcy. You got to look for Sasha. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We did get to see a little glimpse of like how Sasha is apparently like captured with toads. But the thing is that it didn't really interest me from there. Like, I actually did pull it off a little bit. Like, okay, so a couple of the episodes are just going to be like silly episodes where Anne and the Plantars are just going to be like hanging out, having fun in Wartwood. It wasn't until like we actually had a full Sasha episode that got me back and interested. Like when Prison Break came out, that was the one episode where we're like, oh, okay, we're actually talking about Sasha now, and Sasha actually still remembers Anne and Marcy. So this tells me that we're in that area where it's like, okay, we're actually having a little bit of story. So the thing is that what interests me in Amphibia is how the story is going to run. But if you're giving me like silly episodes where like, you get to see the Plantars do something silly, you get to see Anne be selfish or all that kind of stuff, kind of got me a little bit off. But eventually when I heard about what was happening in season 2, then it got me back into watching season 1, and now I understand why we have to actually watch season 1 in order for me to actually understand season 2. So yeah, that was how my feelings were when it came to beginning Amphibia to say.
To be fair, like generally first seasons, the reason why they turn out the way they do is mainly because of the world building. It's because of the character introducing.
Yeah,
aspect.
I guess you're right. Because you want to like introduce Ivy, who's Sprig's love interest. You want to see if Pop has a love interest, which she does, and like and then some other like side people as well. You also got the you got the mayor. You've got Wally, who turned out to be pretty important.
Maddie is one of my favorites.
But she's just a girl who loves to put curses on people. That's it, and was supposed to be.
No, but here's the thing: she uses dark arts for good. That's the thing that makes her, stand out. It's that like she's a witch character who likes to use dark arts for good purposes. Which is why there's this one episode where they're cursed, like Anne and Sprig get cursed. That's actually one of my favorite season 1 episodes because it presents Maddie in a really good light.
Which one was that? Is that the cursed episode?
That's the cursed episode, yeah.
The cursed episode, yeah. It literally was titled Cursed, so it kind of got confused for all of us Loud House fans too. Because there was an episode called Cursed in the Casa Grandes. But yeah, so let's actually head over and talk about, because we both watched season 1, let's actually talk about some key moments in season 1. So, Omid, what are some things that you want to talk about from season 1 that you really liked?
Of course, I love the shenanigans Anne and Sprig get into. I love the wide variety of creative and well-written characters such as Wally, Ivy, Maddie, Chuck, Stumpy, Mrs. Croker, and many more. I love the world building and how vast and majestic it is. I love seeing where Sasha has been ending up and the reunion episode between her and Anne at the end of the season. I love Anne's work ethic as she helps Stumpy pretty much revamp the restaurant. And I love how Hop Hop gets addicted to Suspicion Island. That's so funny.
Okay, yeah, that one's a good one.
And I love the Hotel Inn episode, the bed and breakfast episode. And of course, I love Polly Planter. Up until Marcy dethroned her for the spot, she was my favorite character. She currently ranks second right now, but she's my favorite non-human character.
Yeah. There was actually a lot of like good funny moments actually from this season 1. I did say there were a couple of silly episodes, but to say the least, there were some that were actually pretty comedic. I mean, Sprig and Ivy, that was the one that I actually really liked. Like, I like Sprig loves Ivy, but the thing is like Anne is trying to push Sprig to say, hey, you should ask out Ivy. And then in the end, Ivy asks out Sprig, and then they're now a couple. So that's OTP, by the way, for Sprivy.
Yeah. Anne is a diehard shipper right there. Like
I know, and she desperately was. She was like, ah! It was too cute. It was too cute. Like, yeah. Ah! I think also at the beginning too, when Anne is trying to like get adjusted to all the bugs she's got to eat, like all the facial features and stuff. There's one episode where I think like Anne and Hop Pop were like fighting, and then they were like left out in a field. They had to drink their juices, or like what was it? Anne had like Hop Pop drank like Anne's energy drink while Anne drinks Hop Pop's like energy drink as well, and it turned out that they actually got like kind of crazy from that.
Oh my god!
Like they were
it
looked like a drug thing. It looked like a drug thing, and I was like, what is happening here?
like oh my god! It is so trippy that the pink elephants from Dumbo have vast competition against this.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, look, we get introduced to a lot of people. I also love like some of the side characters that are there. I mean, Ivy, no doubt about it, she's cute. Wally, Maddie, Wally would be, I think, really important. The thing is that he didn't have as much importance until season 2 when he actually had an episode. So
yeah, another thing too is I really love the Wally and Anne episode. It's one of my favorite season 1 episodes also, just because of the fact that like it's pretty much a character journey for them, because Anne is now considered weird, just like Wally is. So it sort of gives them both something to relate to, and I love how Wally tells Anne. This is one moment. It's like Wally tells Anne, like Anne tells Wally, "Your reputation is everything," and all this stuff. But what I love about Wally is that he's crazy and he doesn't care. Like he knows he's weird and he embraces it. And so he tells Anne, "When you're here, you can be anything you want." Honestly, that was one of the most heartfelt moments of Amphibia season 1 to me.
I have to say that definitely was as well. I have to say also the tax episode, the Toad tax episode, where like Anne was like being all left out and stuff. But the real thing is that she's actually well loved in the town. They're defending the taxes and stuff like that. I thought that was actually pretty cool that Anne could backstab them being part of the Toads, but at the same time, and defended the frogs and helped out the town, made them love Anne more, by the way. And the other thing too is like I really love the scene in that part where like I've seen, like, I think Anne was like talking to one of the guys, and he said like, "Hey, he did do all his taxes. I know, I've seen it." She literally watched Hop Pop do his taxes. Guess what, Anne? You're a liability. Kill me.
I love that one. But yeah, the Toad tax, like especially the last third where Anne battles the Toads, was so epic.
Yeah, like the battle too, and then like she may have like hurt her arm. Who wants to sign my cast? There's so many good moments. But here's the other thing too. This also led up to the whole Sasha moments where we're like, what happened to Sasha? Because literally from the first episodes, we get to see where Sasha is, and she's literally just jailed. Literally jailed. Like jailed. That's it. There's nothing else after that. And then in the second, and then when Prison Break came out, then you get to see Sasha actually more of like in a limelight, where like Sasha is actually like having fun with the Toads. She hanged out with those two Toads. I forgot their names. What was the
Percy and Braddock?
Yeah, Percy and Braddock. And then of course she still gets jailed, but at the same time she also gets freed by what was it? She gets freed by Grime because of her like tough attitude and stuff like that. So yeah, all the key moments for Sasha has been like pretty epic to say, and I'm pretty proud of that. Just the fact that like, okay, maybe may have not had like a lot of episodes about Sasha, but at least we know that hey, she's having fun. She's having a fun time with the Toads. So
yeah, honestly,
yeah. So I want to ask you, how did you like how Sasha was portrayed in the season 1?
Well, let's just say she went from rags to riches really fast. Because after she was released from prison and helped the Toads fight these giant herons, these giant birds, she was then declared a warrior to their clan and gave her everything from a comfortable room to a robe to all the food in the world, like pizza, hot dogs, and ketchup.
I feel so bad.
Ketchup! Oh my god! She got ketchup finally!
I think Omid would be like this because he loves ketchup too.
Oh my god! If I were Anne, I'd seriously be jealous of her.
I'm pretty like so sad for Anne because Anne pretty much lives with like frogs that had to like, and she had to deal with eating bugs while at the same time like Sasha was like pretty much living her life just in a castle with a lot of like foods and stuff like that. So Actually, to be honest, there's actually a music video talking about Sasha, and I actually have it right here if you guys want to listen to it.
I showed up here in this swamp with all these nasty weird toad dudes. Their boss Grime threw me in jail with only bugs for food, but then I helped fight these monster herons and taught Grime to be a charmer. I gave up despairing cause Grime made me lieutenant with this dope armor. I trained the toad army. I overworked them till they cried. Every morning I would teach them Tai Chi and do frog jumps till it part. All the toads adored me. We even made these custom t-shirts. I got my own palace with this much improved cuisine. Now the toads all treat me like they're queen.
So seriously, Sasha was living the life as it is. I feel bad for Anne.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, at least she wasn't in chains in the beginning, okay? Whereas Sasha, on the other hand, she got off to a really rough start, but then she went from prisoned to pampered.
I would say very pampered, considering like how she was. Like she even got a shower, by the way. So that's what made Anne so surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So besides the fact about talking about Sasha, let's actually talk about another person that was also interested in me in season 1, which was Hop Pop. There's been a couple moments where the Calamity Box that brought them to Amphibia has been referenced. Like Anne tried to get it back, and even having Hop Pop get in on the action by taking it from Anne. So how suspicious were you thinking that during these moments in season 1, Hop Pop was really looking at this Calamity Box and actually hid it from Anne?
Hop Pop is sus! Hop Pop is the imposter! Not just kidding. In all seriousness, though, while I was disappointed in his actions, it made me think, oh, okay, this is going to follow the grand plot trend that has been going on in other modern Disney shows. So it got me curious as to when Anne would find out Hop Pop's secret and how it would impact their relationship as well as the show overall.
I was just absolutely shocked about that. But then again, like, you know, we never had a thing about the blog. Never had anything to talk about the box. So it was really interesting how Hop Pop actually knows about the box and had to take it away from Anne. So to say the least, I think Hop Pop was like warning Anne that this is trouble, but at the same time, this is Anne's way of getting back. And this kind of tells me, like, wait, Hop Pop, are you going to take this away from Anne? Do you want her to stay in Amphibia? Are you trying to find another way for her to actually get back into the human world? So when these moments happened, I was like, wow, you're a little bit sus there, Hop Pop. I thought you were a good daddy you're a good grandpa to Sprig and Polly, but it seems that you aren't. bad grandpa.
Yeah. Honestly, you know, like, you can learn a lot from Bill Farmer's other character, Goofy, in terms of being a good, father figure. I'm just saying.
I'm kind of happy that Bill Farmer actually voiced him. He's a legend, by the way. So yeah.
Gorsh, how could you, Hop Pop?
Oh wow, you actually had a good Goofy voice there.
Let's be honest, it's easy to impersonate him.
Yeah, so I would say though the best moment in season 1 would have to be reunion, where Sasha actually meets up with Anne. And this episode, I would say, I mean, it's a season finale episode for part 1 of Amphibia, but I would say this kind of tells me like they're really going in a direction that we actually would love to watch, because it's okay. Anne and Sasha are reunited, but it seems that Sasha actually has some things underneath her sleeves or something, So how did you like Sasha being portrayed here in this moment in reunion?
Well, like, I really do like how the episode overall really develops her character in the flashback and also when they reunite. Because in terms of bossy characters, the bossy toxic friend that you often see in media, I'm going to be honest, they often tend to be one-dimensional. Like they often tend to be, just bossy and mean for the sake of it. Whereas here, what Amphibia did with Sasha, it's something of a breath of fresh air to me. They made her three-dimensional. Like, they made her have these bossy, mean tendencies towards Anne, but then they also tend to show her other side, where it's like, even though she's not the nicest friend to Anne, she does care about her in the end. She always has. She just cares about them needing to go home. So she has to do whatever it takes for them to go home, even if it means, sacrificing Hop Pop. And so, oh my God. And here's what really sells Sasha as a character for me. That ending scene, that's that one scene where Anne has Sasha by the hand as Sasha's about to fall from the tower. The look in her eyes, the tears like on her face. The animators really nailed it down.
You're right about that.
And when Sasha says, You're better off without me," it's like,
dude, that was epic too. I was like, Sasha. Okay, no. But the other thing too is like, yeah, I understand Sasha's understanding of it. Like, yeah, I know that she's trying to save, trying to get their way back home, but Anne has her way of getting back home. The thing is that you don't want to hurt her frogs, but Sasha has another way around it, and these two are just in a huge disagreement, by the way. And that epic moment right here was just too tragic to say the least.
Oh man, like the moment their hands, the moment their hands disconnected, the moment that Sasha let go of Anne, and like you see Sasha falling down, but then thankfully Papa Grime comes to the rescue and rescues her from death. And then the toads leave, and then you see Anne crying like in tears. It's like, I totally felt that. Like, this is what I mean when I say that this show is much more than meets the eye, because it actually proves to be a much deeper and much more emotional show than how it looks first glance.
Oh God, I would say so too, because you always see just a frog girl in a frog world, but you never see like how epic like the moments have been, especially this season finale, where like you get to see Sasha and Anne get all pampered up and just be just typical girls, just being nice and fancy and stuff like that. But the thing is though, Sasha has a huge plan behind her back where she like wants to sacrifice Hop Pop or something.
The Toads wanted to sacrifice Hop Pop because Hop Pop was the one that's like being
leading
too
a rebellion
against the Toads.
Yeah, it was leading a rebellion. But the thing is that Hop Pop is not that anymore. Like, he doesn't lead the rebellion or anything like that. That was like a long time ago, I believe.
Yeah, but still, the Toads want to ensure that they stay in power over the frogs. So, of course, they do what it takes to make sure they stay that way.
I think, like, if Sasha didn't actually say that, then Anne would have just, like... Well, if Sasha didn't actually talk about Anne's, the plan to Anne, then obviously Anne wouldn't, like, escape with the frogs. But good thing she heard about that, because you had an epic, like, escape where they were pretty much trapped in a mess hall, and they had to go through the sewers in order for them to actually escape, which also led to a pretty epic battle between Anne and Sasha. And I really love this battle between the two of them. Because, it was a sacrifice. Yes. It was really like, two best friends. That flashback where they actually were best friends. They were celebrating Anne's birthday. And they looked like they're having a fun time. They actually played hooky, by the way, which you shouldn't do. But, look, they were just good friends since kindergarten. And they ended up with a battle like this, because the thing is, like, we get it. Sasha kind of is controlling to Anne. Like, she said, like, put things down, end of discussion. That whole epic line of end of discussion that she always puts up, Anne is saying, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not your, like, player or something like that. So she would like fight her in order for the frogs to, leave Toad Tower. But at the same time, you get that whole sacrifice of, like, Sasha about to fall off and Anne, like, letting go of Sasha. It was such a good, like, epic finale. Like, yeah, you might have a little bit of tears and stuff, but this finale was just so good that it got me actually watching more of Amphibia. Like, okay, cool. Awesome, epic season 1 finale. Season 2, am I going to see some more epic finales of that? And yes, we did. Yes, we did. But
even more so than this.
Yeah, I gotta say this though. The flashback with Anne and Marcy, I have to say though, I think it was definitely necessary considering how the friendship of Anne and Marcy is. Do you think it's the same way too? Do we need the flashback?
Yes, I feel that we need the flashback because it gives us insight as to what Anne and Sasha's friendship really is like, especially back in Earth, because without the flashback, we wouldn't really know much about the friendship other than they're good friends. Up until the second half, where Sasha shows her controlling side towards Anne.
Mm-hmm.
And also, what I like about this is that there are some parallels between them, like a few parallels, like Sasha's end of discussion thing. But then there's also what I love about it. There's a beautiful contrast between the flashback and the battle in Toad Tower, because when you do think about it, is that the flashback plays a part in showing more lighthearted, slice of life, a bit comedic scenarios of Anne and Sasha, whereas Toad Tower, on the other hand, shows a more dark, a more emotional, a more epic scenario. And also, it's really helped by the fact that when you look closely at the two scenes back to back, you'll notice a contrast of the sky, because the flashback, in the flashback, the sky is light blue, showing the light comedic tone of Anne and Sasha scenes. With Toad Tower, the sky is pitch red, which symbolizes a darker, more emotional, and much more conflicting scene between Anne and Sasha.
I would say it's more of an epic tone that happened, and I was just in it for the ride and all. I think the whole mood of the whole battle between Anne and Sasha was needed to be like that, all red and all dark toned, that it kind of tells you it feels that this is going to be a friendship that will not last anymore. And throughout season 2, it just feels like Anne and Sasha were not supposed to be friends anymore. Either way, they haven't even contacted with each other until the very end of season 2. So yeah, Sasha and Anne, but at the end of season 1, do you think that Sasha and Anne are pretty much not friends anymore? They really have a lot of beef to each other now because of this?
When I saw the end and how Sasha pretty much let go, it made me think, okay, well, they're in a rough patch right now, but hopefully they'll work things out in season 2, because while Anne was disappointed by Sasha's actions, she still has that slight bit of hope that Anne and Sasha may be friends again, and she herself hopes that Sasha is okay. Whereas Sasha, on the other hand, we don't really know the aftermath. We don't really know what her true feelings are after the fight until season 2.
Mm-hmm. It was around that's true. That's actually true. When I'm looking back after season 2, but you said there, it does make sense now. But we'll get into True Colors eventually. But to say the least, Reunion actually was a tipping point for me that made me think, okay, maybe this show actually has some potential, that it got me more engaged in season 2. So yeah, season 1, like I said, a little bit of silly stuff, but as long as we had that storyline, it was only a little bit of storyline that happened in season 1, but it still flowed. It still had a good ongoing flow of story in season 1 in order for me to actually see how epic it was in Reunion. And now we actually have to head over to season 2, where it got way more into the story, to say the least. But season 2 actually began on the road, which the Planetars were pretty much heading over to Newtopia. There were a couple of areas that were the Planetars had to see. Let's see, what were they put here? Most of the first half of the season had them traveling through towns and seeing other parts of Amphibia. That one Amphibia place where they're building robots. What a heads up on that one, by the way. So what are some key episodes that you like from the first half of season 2?
Now, though the season gets much better with its second half, the first half does have its own major hits as well. My favorites from the first half of season 2 are Handy Ann, Ann Hunter, Truck Stop Polly, A Caravan Named Desire, Toadcatcher, and of course, Wax Museum.
I have to say your list here was actually pretty good, because Handy Ann was the one where that one frog, I grow tulips. He actually was really helpful in this.
His name was Chuck, but yes.
His name is Chuck, yeah. I grow tulips.
No, the best part about Handy Ann, you just made a big mistake, buddy. And then her eyes glow.
Wait. You're talking about this little one? We're not even talking about this yet. But okay, sure, we'll do it now. Yes, you make a big mistake, buddy. And FYI, when she said that, why is her eyes blue? Why is her eyes blue?
Talk about that.
No, when you see that first scene, I'm like, wait, why is her eyes blue? And then you'll know later in season 2 why her eyes are blue. But when you first saw that, I'm like, are you acting strange? Why is the blue eyes out of you? Is that the same thoughts that you had too?
Yeah, when I saw this, I was thinking to myself, yeah, something's up with their eyes, but I bet you anything it's gonna have something will they be something related to the Calamity Box. Like somewhere there's gonna be a connection.
I mean, yeah, we know there's gonna be a connection. It's just more of like, yeah, we saw blue eyes, but then when you see later on in season 2, the other characters do have other colored eyes as well. And that turns out to be a really huge thing, especially as we continue on to season 2. But yeah, Handy Ann was also a pretty good episode. I gotta say this also, some of the side episodes were okay. Yeah, I do love the where Polly was like going off road, like driving and stuff. Shocked Up Polly, that's what it is. I love Ann Hunter. It was like what was that one? It was that one episode where like Ann was like trying to like hunt for like stuff. I don't remember. I forgot what it was. Was she doing the dance thing? Is it the one where she did the dance thing, or was that another episode?
It is the one where she did the dance. Yes, it was basically her like pretty much trying to survive using her instinct in a sense.
Yeah, and I love the dance, by the way. She was just doing like all these shakings and stuff, and then like is trying to get into her nature side, and with Sprig popping up as her like voice of conscience. It was like, this is pretty.
I love that one. I think the Sprig consciousness is honestly the best part of the episode. You just see Sprig.
Oh my god, it was so good. I would say it was good. But yeah, there were some episodes that I thought were okay. I mean, like you may say that a caravan named Nizara was more of hop pop, just trying to be in theater. But I think the last 2 episodes before we actually head over to Newtopia were actually pretty good. The first one was what was it? Swamp
Toadcatcher.
No. What was Toadcatcher again? I forgot.
Toadcatcher was the one where Sasha and Grime.
To see Sasha again. Grime. That's right, Sasha and Grime. And by the way, Grime, oh boy, what happened to him when he actually like got depressed or something? He got like hella fat. I'm like, what happened to you?
he let himself go, and he let himself binge watch Suspicion Islands.
Yeah, okay, so Suspicion Island is actually really popular in the human world. But the other thing too is that we also get to see Yunnan, which was awesome. She was a killer of toads. Toadcatcher,
I am General Yunnan. General
She always says that. She always says that, and I love how Sasha just comes in and says like, "I'm sorry, what's your name again?"
Yeah. By the way, same voice actress as Zara from Glitch Tech.
Yes, from Glitch Tech. She's awesome. Now, the other thing that also comes into this episode was the beef between Sasha and it's not done. By the way, it seems that Sasha still like hates Saiyan.
A whole lot.
A whole lot. I'm like, okay, so this beef is not going to be good, and if they actually meet, it feels like there's going to be more conflict between the two of them, don't you think?
Yeah, by what we've seen in Toadcatcher, that pretty much gives a clear sign that, Sasha still has a grudge against Anne for what happened in Reunion. And it's honestly something that we half and half expected, because here's the thing. It sort of contradicts her feelings in the season 1 ending, where Sasha had legitimate guilt. Like she legitimately felt tears in her eyes because she realizes that she's been a bad friend to Anne, and she feels that Anne would be happier without her. Honestly, I felt a bit disappointed to see Sasha act this way, like right after Reunion, because like I said, it contradicts with her actual feelings in season 1. But then on the other hand, you can argue, Grime did argue too, that she's not really upset that she lost the fight. She's upset that Anne stood up to her, and things between them will never be the same again. So honestly, I feel that Sasha uses her rage to cover up her sentimental guilt, to cover up her guilt.
Which makes sense. Which makes sense because Sasha literally lost a friend, and Grime even said that to Sasha too. Like, you're just upset because you just lost your best friend, and It's true because it's just tons of beef that's going on between Anne and Sasha after that whole battle. So of course, Sasha wants to go out for revenge and just wants to in this picture kick Anne's ass. So this doesn't look good. So the thing is that when they reunite, you just hope a battle like this never happens. But who knows? Now, I also want to talk about 2 more episodes that I really loved from this part, the first part of season 1. One of them actually was, Wally, the one silly guy that was in, the one silly guy in Amphibia who's just trying to be a fool and stuff like that. It turns out he actually was a pretty rich guy.
That was one of my favorites too, because it gives us more insight into Wally's character. And it gives us...
Well, not really more of his character, more of like a secret side to Wally, because, he could be silly at times, but at the same time, wow, he's rich. And it's understandable why he wants to be like a silly guy that he's portrayed in Amphibia.
Yeah, in a way, he's like the entire show itself. Like, there's more to one than meets the eye. Whereas when you take a first glance, when you take a look at Wally, you think, okay, he's weird, he's silly, and all that stuff. But then when you actually look into his home life, you never really expect him to be like this wealthy. You never really expect him to have that kind of lifestyle.
But the other thing too is he doesn't want to live that lifestyle, so that's why he wanted to not be a Rivington anymore and just live up with whatever life he wants to be. So he probably will still be. I'm pretty sure he's still gonna be like a silly guy over in was it not Newtopia? What's the town again? Wartwood. Yeah. He's gonna still be a silly guy in Wartwood, just using his accordion, just playing for fun and stuff like that. That's how I grew up with Wally. And if he's gonna turn out to be a rich guy, it'd be like, no, pretty much change character of how he is. But still, it's awesome to see a secret life of who Wally is. And by the way, I didn't expect Kermit the Frog to actually be in this episode.
I was just about to say that, bro. I was just about to say that. Just about to say it. Kermit the Frog is in Amphibia. Let's go.
Wait. But then he was also complaining about not being in Big City Greens. But
then it's like, yo, Kermit, bro, you're in a Disney show that's more fitted for you about talking frogs. You're in Amphibia, so you get what you get.
But then you also had Fozzie the Bear actually a guest star in Big City Greens. And maybe it makes sense why Kermit. Well, I mean, Kermit had a better gig over here. I mean, he could be he's just a referee or something, but he has a better role here in Amphibia, where he's just a literal puppet frog in an amphibian world. It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Hey, Fozzie the Bear in Big City Greens, Kermit the Frog in Amphibia. I wonder who's next. Miss Piggy from the Owl House. Are we gonna see Miss Piggy from the Owl House?
Where would she go? Be a pig? Be a talking pig? Somebody just did some bad magic and then she's a talking pig?
You never know what they could do with Miss Piggy in that show, but whatever it is, I bet it's gonna be inventive.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Maybe they might have more people. I don't know. They have this collaboration with Muppets. Muppets is pretty much a Disney property now, anyway. So
true that.
Yeah.
So Muppets Haunted Match, let's go.
Wait, what?
Muppets Haunted Match, let's go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Now, one other episode that I also wanted to bring up, the sister episode of that episode was what was it?
Wax Museum.
Wax Museum, and that one was a pretty nostalgic episode for us, considering that we're also Gravity Falls fans. But they actually had a collaboration between Amphibia and Gravity Falls. They literally had a Grunkle Stan in this episode. They literally had a Zeus in this episode.
And they brought Alex Hirsch to do both roles. And it is just sweet sense of nostalgia. I love it. Love it.
I loved it too. I love the little. I mean, you still have the same old Grunkle Stan, who's pretty much the same old Grunkle Stan, trying to sell off stuff for memorabilia or for show. You had Zeus, who's pretty much a silly guy just working with Grunkle Stan or Grunkle Frog, whatever the name is. I forgot it.
The name is actually a Mr. Pons.
No, the curator. That's right. They call him the curator, not Mr. Pines.
I love how Frog Zeus also brings up, do you think we're in an alternate dimension? How we're in multiple universes? And it made me think this. Stan Pines into the Pines verse.
It's possible.
It's into the Pines verse.
I love the part though where like, you know, okay, so he turns out to be evil here, by the way. I don't know if you could call Gargoyle Stand evil in Gravity Falls, but yeah,
not in Gravity Falls, but in this one, yeah, you can pretty much tell like it's a more sinister version of his Gravity Falls counterpart. Because for one thing, I don't think the stand for Gravity Falls would cement actual human beings.
Yeah, I would expect that too. But the thing is that it was just pretty epic though. Like, you know, it's him, and then there's a lot of other like Gravity Falls references that also did pop up in the show in this episode. I mean, you got the gnomes, by the way, from Gravity Falls actually pop up in this episode as well. Yeah, Smebulok actually.
Smebulok.
So to say the least, this was it was an Amphibia episode, but it was like more nostalgic for Gravity Falls fans. Just the fact that like, oh, we're getting all the Gravity Falls stuff and references back here. It's like, okay, so Gravity Falls technically not dead, but you know what? It's good to actually have Gravity Falls actually get referred somewhere in like other shows. I wonder if Owl House is gonna do the same thing soon. But then you have Alex Hirsch as King, so
hopefully.
Yep, Alex Hirsch as King.
True.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe
honestly, I bet you anything like there's gonna be some sort of Bill Cipher Easter egg somewhere, and then King's just gonna look at Bill Cipher and he's gonna be like, "Hey, that's me, except I'm not a triangle."
One can tell. Like, I mean, I can imagine like more crossovers happening with shows. I mean, if Owl House could probably have an Amphibia reference, or Owl House could have a Big City Greets reference or a Gravity Falls reference. Let's see how it all goes down. But it feels like these Disney Channel shows, they are really clever when it comes to like collaborating, and I love it.
I am too. Like honestly,
all right.
I feel the same way.
By the way, after this episode, we do get our special episode called Marcy at the Gates. Finally, Marcy is here.
Yes!
Oh my God. I am so happy. So that about Marcy at the Gates, I believe, was like necessary. I mean, it was a 30-minute episode. It was obviously introducing Marcy and the reunion between Marcy and Anne, and I think it was just absolutely epic. Those two actually are like absolute best friends, and maybe possible. I ship them. FYI, they look really cute together. They are really cute together. So where's my questions here? Explain your thoughts on how the reunion with Anne and Marcy was.
Oh my God, I was touched. I was in happy tears when we finally see Marcy and Anne together. Ever since the season 2 teaser, when they showed a bit of Marcy came out, I was curious to see how the show was going to handle her. And let me tell you, they handled her so magnificently. Because that's when Marcy became my new favorite character of the show. I immediately adored her right off the bat. Her clumsiness, her intelligence, her resourcefulness, her geekiness, her addiction to video games, like just how she adapted so well into this fantasy land, because she's into fantasy games herself. Like she's into RPGs, this one Tales of Symphonia reference game. Like, do you want to borrow? Do you want to borrow? Do you want to? It's the greatest JRPG of all time. God, like I just love how quirky. Like she's quirky, she's geeky, and I love everything about her.
You know what? She's actually a genius too, knowing that she can also plan stuff up. And in this episode, they were trying to take care of like ants that are like trying to destroy Newtopia. Either way, they relied on Marcy, who's pretty much the genius in this episode. And I you know what, just gives me more character. The fact that like Marcy is absolutely adorable. She's really cute, and she's into video games. So I understand why Omid would love Marcy, just because she's kind of like us, to say.
She's definitely us. Yeah, like honestly, she would be one of those friends I would instantly be friends with.
Yeah, and I love the whole backstory about how Marcy is. Yeah, she could be clumsy and stuff. Although I did hate that one moment where like Sasha said like she should someday she would actually she would be killed. I'm like,
oh my God! When the moment she said, I'm gonna tell you. Now, after I saw the big episode we're talking about True Colors, and when I rewatched that clip of Sasha saying, one of these days she's gonna get herself killed, I was like, Tell us everything you know, Sasha. Tell us everything. Tell us everything you know.
I think she's a psychic. She's like a future whisperer or something like that. It was just so freaky, like that she actually referenced this in this episode, and then in True Colors that happened.
I'm just like, okay, does she have the fortune-telling skills of Lucy Loud? I mean, tell us everything you know. What do you know?
That moment was so pretty epic, though. I mean, yeah, no doubt about it. It's more like Marcy and Anne just fighting together. I love the moment in the battles too, where like Anne was saying like, I don't ever want to see you go or something like that, or I don't want to let you go or anything like that. I thought it was actually pretty epic just seeing like Marcy and Anne just say that. I'm like, oh,
an emotional moment. It's
an emotional moment. I know it was just too emotional. Just the fact that like Anne and Marcy had this like connection together, and I had this connection, like this amazing friendship, and I'm so like, I'm so overwhelmed with all the things that actually was happening there. By the way, how did you like how Sprig was? Because Sprig was like sus throughout the whole episode, saying like, I don't like Marcy, I don't like this girl. But then in the end, when Marcy rescued Sprig from danger, he turned out to be friend.
Trustworthy. That's
what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, when Sprig was sus of Marcy, I'm just like, you shut your frog mouth now. You shut your frog mouth now, boy. But I can see why he would be suspicious because, like Anne already went through a bad experience with another human, and so she doesn't want to go through the same thing again with, another human. I can get that. But God damn it, Sprig, come on. Like, you know about Marcy, okay? Like, quit being so judgmental.
No. Look, I can understand his trauma. Just the fact that, like, he trusted Sasha, and she turned out to be bad. So it makes sense why Sprig would do the same thing too with Marcy. But then that he was.
Hey, Marcy is not an imposter, Sprig. Shut up. Marcy is not an imposter. You're the imposter.
Hey, it's only one time where you have to get rescued in order for you to actually be trustworthy. So there you go. Sprig and Marcy are now trustworthy and are now friends.
Trustworthy,
yes. Now, in the end of Marcy at the Gates, we also get to see King Andrias for the first time. Not really see, but you could hear like what the plan is going to be. He said it's all according to plan. And I'm like, you a little sus there, King Andrias. Even though I haven't seen you yet in this episode or yet in Amphibia, you feel like a really weird king there. Explain your thoughts on King Andrias when you first heard him at the end of this episode.
Andrias, we're going to have a huge talk later. But as of now, I'm just going to give you my overall first impressions of you. Now, the moment I saw this scene, I thought to myself, yep, potential villain right there. Like just by the voice acting of Keith David, just the way that he says all the pieces come together, you just hear that menacing voice, which tells you, sort of gives you a hint that he may not be all that he seems, not what he seems. What am I doing?
Just like that Gravity Falls episode, right?
Yes. So, honestly, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? He's voiced by Keith David. Of course, it's going to turn out to be not so nice.
The thing is that Keith David still voiced other people. Like, he voiced in... He voiced in Rick and Morty, but he wasn't like a villain. He was more like an anti-hero or something like that, right? He was the president. He was the president. So
Dr. Fausto from Princess and the Frog. Dr. Fausto from Princess and the Frog.
Okay, also that too. Yeah, you're right. He is also Dr. Fausto as well. But yeah, I mean, from when I first heard him, it just feels really suspicious. But like when you continue on in season 2, when they were pretty much in Newtopia for like a couple of episodes, you get to see a very friendly King Andrias. So it kind of tells you like, okay, maybe a little bit trustworthy, but in the back of my mind, it's still a little pretty suspicious. The fact that there's a lot of hidden stuff, like a lot of hidden secrets that you're still hiding from us. You're not revealing it to the audience at the moment, but there's so much behind. There's so much behind the scenes that we just cannot see from your tower in Newtopia right now. But yeah, I would say in the beginning when I first saw King Andrias, a little bit suspicious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I felt that like I would have preferred if they didn't have the scenes where Andreas was suspected to be a villain. I sort of wanted it to be like a 100% surprise in True Colors, but because of the scenes of this scene and scene in First Temple, like the very end scene of King Andreas in First Temple, it made me think, yeah, King Andreas is going to be the villain, like no doubt about it.
Wow. Well. Yeah.
Which wasn't as surprise, which wasn't so much of a twist as I hoped it would be. But that's just me.
Oh, you'll see eventually when when you saw True Colors. Okay, so yeah, so pretty much the episode ends there. Okay, now we have a little suspicious of King Andrias, but then we get to see Anne and Marcy pretty much like reunite. So they pretty much have some fun times in Newtopia, and we had some episodes where Anne and Marcy. Anne and Marcy, same with Sprig and Polly, pretty much have their fun times in Newtopia. They had a sleepover together. They went to an aquarium. They had a scavenger hunt to like I think something for the king. And there's a whole lot more that happened in Newtopia. What were your favorite moments during this part of season 2?
Oh my god, my favorite moments are now, of course, you got Anne and Marcy spending time together. You still got, Marcy being the best character in Amphibia, no doubt about it. I also really liked the where they're in a hotel, and then you see Sprig with this golden car that he can use to spend on anything he wants, and then like he goes head to head with this this girl who works at the hotel. It's
voiced
sort of like
voiced by Mabel Pines.
Yeah, Krista Shaw, and she's pretty much a Newt version of Gloria for Big City Greens because she just graduated from college. She's still trying to adapt to this adult life like Gloria is, and she tries her best, but it's hard for her. And of course, she goes head to head with a pint-sized kid. So there are pretty much similarities, which is why I really loved her character. I really wish that her character would appear much more. She's just really relatable.
I think,
and of course, the best scene, like one of the best scenes that I could remember, Hopping Mall is one of my favorite season 2 episodes. And
my God,
especially for the ending scene in particular, where Anne pretty much cries over missing her mom.
Yeah. Oh God, that was so tragic too.
And then Sprig was like, do you ever miss your mom? But then you've never know what she looks like. And then Anne realizes that Sprig actually has it worse than her, because at least Anne has had experience with her mom, whereas Sprig never really did. And so Anne gives her a big hug, and then Sprig
started crying too. You mean Sprig started crying too? Oh.
Yes. Oh, one of the best things.
It literally was a big. It was really a big ending. I was like, okay, yeah, the Hopping Mall was great, but then of course, like Anne tried to give something to her mom, and then of course she misses her mom. I understand how Anne is just like absolutely misses home, and then the whole big reveal about what was it? Sprig just not seeing her mom at all, not seeing his mom at all, and obviously that made me depressed too. And I'm like, this scene right here at the end, I was like, okay, you're making me cry now. And they both cried. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Am I being emotional all of a sudden? What's happening here?
Oh my God, just hit me right here. And honestly, it's one, like I said, going back to what I said about Amphibia being more than meets the eye, being so emotionally driven and all that. Like, this is one of the scenes that demonstrates this. This is one of the scenes that really does show. It really does. It does such a phenomenal job of not talking down to its audience. It does such a phenomenal job of presenting how we sometimes take our parents, our moms for granted, but then when we're really separated from them, when we start to see how much we've taken for granted from our relationship with our parents, when you're really separated from them, you just can't help but just wallow up. You just can't help but feel like, I really miss them so much. I'm definitely gonna. I should try to do better by my parents. Like, all that stuff. It's
it just makes you feel like you really love your parents, and no doubt about it, that episode really does just gives you like a little moment there to say, hey, you know, take care, like care for your parents because they help raise you to be who you are and all. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, like Hopping Ball is a reminder of that, and I just love it for that. Especially when you also consider the fact that when Anne and Sprig were trying to compete with for the butterfly item, the thing.
Yes, the butterfly thing.
Their opponents had a mom too, and
that's the sad part about it, that she actually I think she had to give it to that person who lost to Anne or something.
Because that item was made by because the item that she was trying to win was actually made by her opponent's mom.
And that's why she had to give it back to her. It's just, it's like a Mother's Day thing. We actually have to put that episode at Mother's Day or something, because it just like reflects on like moms and all. I'm like, it's just too heart crunching. Yes. It was too heart crunching, especially the last moments of that episode. It was definitely one of the best episodes of season 2. I want to go back into this episode here because I actually relate to her, because look, it's a very fancy hotel that she's working in, but they're really treating her like crap. And you know, the gold card was going to be like her way out of pretty much like being treated like this. So that's why she had to do this. So I feel her way. I feel like how the way that she is, like, you know, she wants to try to get herself like better, and it's so relatable to most of us here. You know, Omid like relates her to Gloria, which makes sense because Gloria is also in a struggle as well. And the other thing too about this as well is that a lot of people really did like her. Like, I saw a lot of fan art for this Newt, and I didn't expect her to be such a popular character. Is it because of Mabel Pines, or is it just because of the relatability to most of the people here?
Like, honestly, for me, it's a combination of both. Like, I really love Bella the bellhop. She's one of the most underappreciated, underrated characters of the show. And like I said, I really hope we see more of Bella, because honestly, I was actually rooting for her in this episode. Like, even more so than Sprig, I was rooting for Bella to get the card because I feel she deserves it.
Yeah. Hopefully it'll be better for her. I don't know what happened to her. I think she got fired or something. I may be wrong on that, but she's still working in that hotel, I think. But I don't know. There's no story after that, and I wish they actually did put a focus on what happened to her. Either way, another moment I actually really like, there's the episode called Lost in Newtopia. It's where Polly and Anne pretty much were just touring around Newtopia. This one moment, though, really got my attention because it's a young Anne, you know, she's just a little kid Anne, and we get to see Anne's mom, and the moment after that. It's like, I don't know what happened, because I know Anne was crying because she couldn't do something, and then like when you go back to the present, and Anne was like, "I didn't want the baby carrots, Mom. I didn't want the baby carrots. Why?" That moment was like, okay, this is best.
I love it. Yeah, like when Anne breaks down crying, like, you know, there are some emotional scenes of Anne, like crying Anne sometimes can be funny, and other times it can make you cry too. It depends on the execution.
Look back at season 1 where like Anne was what was it? There was that one part where like Anne and the snail was alone, and I think Anne was like looking through the book of like of the chronicles of like Hop Pop and how he found the snail and all. I love the fact that like she kept on reading it, and then eventually she was like crying. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I love how she learns to grow to appreciate Bessie as not just a pet snail, but also as a member of the family.
And by the way, that's why I love Anne, because she's just so dramatic like that, and she's, you know, relatable to all of us.
Yeah, definitely. I really love Anne too. She's one of my favorite characters for those reasons, and I like how they make her a flawed but very likable character.
Right. Now, one more thing I also want to bring up, when they left Newtopia, because it would have been the planters just leaving and Anne staying in Newtopia. But I love the moment where, you know, Sasha said, "Hey, you should just go with the plantars." And, you know, I think that turned out to be like the thing that was supposed to like happen, because, you know, Anne is going to go back to the plantars, go back to Wartwood, while Marcy and King Andrias figure out what's going on with the treasure chest by themselves. So to say the least, I thought this was actually a pretty epic moment just to see that the whole episode itself, the Day of the Aquarium, is more like, yeah, this is their last day together, them crying, them pretty much being all depressed. But at the same time, Marcy sacrificing and saying like, hey, you know what? I can handle it from here. You head out with Wartwood and we'll meet up again. Because right now they can't find a way to get back. So Anne needs to get back to her frog family. So I was like it was pretty sad on that one as well. But what do you think about the end of this episode?
I thought it was really very noble of Marcy to let go of Anne so that she could be reunited with her family. Because, like, even though they were united, Marcy could tell deep down how much Anne really does love and care for the Plantars. Like, they're basically a second family to Anne. Like, they're the family to Anne in this world. And Marcy sees the bondage, sees the bond and love that they share. And because of this, it shows Marcy to show heart and also to have her go with the Plantars because she knows how much Anne is going to miss them if they do separate. So honestly, kudos on Marcy for that. That really shows a true friend where it's like, you got to consider, their feelings first. Like even though she's not going to stay in Newtopia with you very much longer, she's at least going to be with her frog family.
Yeah, and I also did put the mistake. Yeah, I think I did say Sasha. I was like, no, Marcy. I'm getting confused with the three names. Okay, guys, I'm being impromptu here.
No, believe me. If this was Sasha, no, she would have held Anne hostage. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I would say so too. That would have been Sasha. But then again, those two have beef at the moment. So, we head over to pretty much the third part of the second season where they go to these three temples. What was I going to say? They go back. Anne and the Plantars go back to Wartwood, but then Marcy would also join them as well as they go through each of these temples in order for them to fulfill those jewels that they were talking about, and make sure that box works well in order for them to head back to the human world. So, explain your highlights on what the three temples episodes have been for you.
I really love the three temples, honestly. The first temple, I really loved, how, once again, Marcy comes back and we see how awesome she is. And I love how she was playing the chess game, especially. But then turns out that the chess game cheats itself. Oh my God. And then you see like Marcy's expression, like, oh, with the eyes, the polka dot eyes. The polka dot eyes, man, you can tell. But aside from Marcy, what I really love about First Temple is that it really shows, the realism, like it really shows the realistic side of Anne and Hop Pop's relationship, where even in the aftermath of After the Rain, it still shows that Anne hasn't quite fully forgiven Hot Pop, despite the fact that she said she did in After the Rain. And I really like that because, let's be honest, like sometimes even when we forgive someone, like we just can't bring ourselves to forget about it or to 100% forgive them, because when we're deeply hurt, it takes a while for us to sort of, recover from that and rekindle the relationship. So I like how they really handled Anne and Hop Pop's aftermath and relationship in First Temple.
Now I have to say this though, it was really epic, especially in After the Rain, because Anne would find out that that Hop Pop was hiding the chest the whole time, and of course Anne gets hella furious about that. But she also had to save Sprig and Polly from dying, to say the least, and to say the least, they have to work together and everything, and it's just felt so good. And also we get to see the backstory of what happened to Sprig and Polly's mom, or their parents, because I think that was actually pretty significant what they said there.
Yeah, honestly, and that's the whole reason why Hop Pop decided to hide the Calamity Box from Anne in the first place. At the end of the day, it's to protect his family. But then, on the other hand, you could also see why Anne is upset, of course. I mean, Hop Pop did lie to her about, her only way home. So, honestly, I like how you sort of sympathize with both sides. You can see where both sides are coming from.
Yeah. So I also want to talk about like the three temples. I know the first temple we get to see Marcy pretty much like have her eyes pretty much like
Her
green
eyes green.
The eyes green.
Eyes.
Her eyes pretty much her eyes from green. They were pretty much now enveloped in the jewel. To say the least, that thing is fully powered. Although when you head over to the second temple where Anne was the person to get to, it wasn't fully charged to say the least, right? So it made you feel like what happened now if Anne's wasn't fully charged?
Yeah, honestly, I really like the second temple as well because it shows how, it shows the flaws that Anne has. Like there are times where she has been selfish, and so Anne learns herself, like she learns not to lie to herself and admits that she has that selfishness too. But then she then also acknowledges that she has grown and that she's learned from it. So I love how Anne even acknowledges that, she's still not perfect. She has flaws of her own. She's still trying to work on that. So honestly, I really liked Second Temple for that.
The second temple was more of like Anne you're right. Just Anne not trying to be selfish and trying to behave better, which led to I didn't know I actually expected to see that frog again or that newt again from the Bizarre Bazaar. So she came back and
she came back.
Yeah, she came back, and cool that she as the person who is like behind the scenes of the second temple. And you know what? There were some trial and tribulations that Anne had to face. She ended up passing, and her jewel is about to be charged. And then the thing that really got suspicious for me was the fact that she, left without it being fully charged. So it kind of tells me, okay, is that going to be a problem? But throughout all of season 2, nothing popped up that tells me that, oh, this is going to be an issue if the blue gem wasn't charged or something. But yeah.
Valerinia is a really fun character to watch. Valerinia, I'm glad, I really love the scene with Anne and Valerinia because it shows how she shows Anne, like I said, her selfish moments, and then it's a good moment for Anne to reflect upon herself and realize that she's been in wrong at times and she's trying to do better. So that's really good, more good character growth for Anne.
I think so too. And you know what? That's very helpful for Anne and making her become like a better friend to say. Now, I know a couple more episodes did come in. I know that there's an episode where Marcy went into Wartwood trying to make a new Wartwood with the mayor there. There was also an episode where Marcy and Maddie were actually hanging out together, and I thought that was really funny.
Yes, loved it. Marcy is my favorite character in the show. Maddie is one of my top 5 favorite characters of the show. I adore her so much. So honestly, I really like the chemistry between the two because they're into weird things themselves. Like they're into magic, they're into fantasy. So these two really clicked with each other, no lie. Oh god, I also loved how when Marcy first entered Woodward, she's like, it's Marcy's first day of Woodwood.
What's the name? Woodwood. I love her. I like how Marcy's just being all preppy like that. I love how Marcy is.
She's like, first day of Woodwood, first day of Woodwood, first day of Woodwood, first day of Woodwood. And then Marcy is. I didn't see Anne sleeping, and she's like, 5 more minutes. And it got me thinking to myself, okay, in the mornings, honestly, when it comes to mornings, you're either a Marcy or you're an Anne. For me, I'm an Anne. Okay, I'm just saying. I like to have
I'm an Anne too. I'm not one of the early birds. Unless I have to work, then that means I'm one of those Marcys.
I like to sleep, God. I like to sleep, damn it.
Oh my god, it's just pretty much like two different worlds. It's like, yeah, Marcy's just absolutely hyper while Anne's trying to be like smart and all. There's also that scene where it was in the first temple where we get to see more flashbacks of Anne and Marcy, where Marcy is just absolutely addicted to video games, and Anne is just Anne gets suffering from it. So remember that one time where Marcy was just playing video games, and then there's she was pushing down she's putting down froyo
yogurt machine,
and then he put down a lot of froyo because she was so obsessed with the game. There was also that one time where she was playing a game and I think she was behind the scenes in a play, and it's just you just see Anne just swing back and forth and all.
Yeah,
Marcy, please stop your game. Pay attention.
Notice the characters they play too. Anne is Peter Pan, and Sasha as Captain Hook. Like, doesn't that sort of isn't that a parallel in this show? Like, we got
I see what you're trying to put there.
Sasha's a bad guy.
I see what you're trying to do there.
Clever.
Very clever for Matt Braley to do that.
Yeah, this goes to show, like, when Marcy is focused on something, like, she is in the zone. There's no stopping her. That's why we love her.
There is no stopping for her, but then also at the same time, like, yeah, she'll be walking and going into a zoo, and then Anne has to be the one to rescue her. Like, Marcy, no!
Full of snakes. It was full of snakes. Okay, so...
Yeah. But to say the least, I mean, like, Marcy seems like she's a really good go-getter. She could be, like, silly at times, but, like, she can be relatable to, like, most of us.
Relatable to me for sure.
So now we head over to the third temple, where we get to see, well, the reunion, because we get to see Marcy, Sasha, and Anne together. Although I love the beginning of this episode, by the way, because we get to see another flashback of these three girls, and I think they're adorable, actually. Yeah, these three girls. Look at them; they're kindergarten. They're so cute together. Look at them.
I want to adopt all of them right now. I want to adopt all three of them right now, man.
They are adorable. I'm like, oh my god. Well, just the fact that we get to see, like, Sasha's, like, bravery actually appear in this appear even since kindergarten. I mean, that tells you, like, how awesome Sasha could be. And then you get to see the friendship of Anne and Marcy. I'm like, oh my god, this is so relatable to, like, what's happening now in Amphibia. How'd you feel about how'd you feel about the flashback? Did you like it? Did you like to see how they are when they were kindergartners and how they are now?
Yeah, I really loved the flashback because it's pretty much how they became friends in the first place. Like, because we knew that they became friends since kindergarten, so the show brings us to a flashback where they actually are in kindergarten and they end up befriending each other. And I also love how they present Sasha as she always has been in the series, where she's bossy yet protective at the same time.
Yeah, and you know what? That just tells you, like, how she's going to be in this show, and obviously in the third temple episode. And FYI, don't bully kindergartners. Come on, guys, don't get them off their swings.
Yeah, seriously, don't you all have better things to do than to bully 6-year-olds? Just saying.
Yeah. Anyways, the third temple came up. We get to see Sasha and Marcy and Anne pretty much, like, hang out together. Of course, you get to see Sasha and Anne hang out together. Of course, there's a beef and things like that arise. Explain your thoughts on how the third temple was for you.
Oh my god, I loved the Sasharsi moments, like the Sasharsi reunion right there. That tells you something, man. Like, Disney Channel has their own OT3, man. Disney Channel has their own OT3. You know what I mean?
So Nickelodeon has, like, Sidonican, and now we have Marsashan.
Yeah, exactly, man. Nickelodeon has Sidonican. Disney Channel has Sasharsi. Cartoon Network has...
We don't know. We don't even know what cartoons they put up.
It's anymore. It's honestly really beautiful to see. Just seeing, and seeing that Sasharsi hug, especially that Sasharsi hug is everything, man. Like, you see Marcy, like, I'd be like, oh my god, Sasha.
Well, the other thing too is, like, hey, no, I love the fact that, like, she comes in and then, like, she turns out to be all epic and, like, destroys things, and then the first thing she turns around and she says, like, hey, girlfriends. I'm like, oh god.
her kawaii pose, her kawaii look, like, hey, girlfriends.
He's such a weirdo. I mean, like, I don't understand. Like, she has, like, what, a bipolar, like, disorder or something like that, where she could be mean at some time, then she could be, like, happy at another time.
Could be.
So yeah, the third temple happened, and of course, it's Sasha's turn to actually, like, get her jewels. Get her jewel filled up, and it did get filled up. But the other thing too at the end of this episode was, this isn't the plan all along. This is a reunion. We're still going with the plan where the Toads were gonna invade Newtopia. So now, what makes you think about Sasha now?
It sort of made me think, whoa, Sasha, you're still going with that. Okay, so it turns out you haven't quite exactly changed as we thought. But then you take a look at, her emotions. You take a look at how Sasha feels, like, in the very last 5 seconds. Like, you see how like through subtlety and through show don't tell, you can tell by Sasha's facial expressions that she has conflicting feelings about this. Because on one hand, she does want to help the Toads overthrow Newtopia, the king, because she's grown to have such a deep relationship with the Toads and all that stuff, and she wants power. But then on the other hand, she really does love and care about her friends so much, even though she shows it in her own Sasha way. So, on one hand, she wants it, but then on the other hand, she doesn't want to betray her human friends. You know what I mean? So I do love the conflicting feelings that reside within Sasha. And it makes me think, like I said before, Sasha is like a three-dimensional character. Like, love her or hate her, she's one of the most developed characters in the show. And honestly, that's what I really like about her. I really like her. She's really
a struggle. She's a struggling person. Like, she made a deal with Grime to take over Newtopia because of her freedom, but at the same time, she doesn't want to betray her friends. So it's like, I feel bad for Sasha, but at the same time, I feel angry at Sasha sometimes. It's like, why are you betraying your friends, or why are you doing this for Grime? So it's really conflicting to see how Sasha is, but it feels like she's still continuing with the plan. I'm like, really, Sasha? You're really gonna be this mean? You're really gonna backstab Ad again?
That's what makes her so complex to me. Like, I feel the writers really did a fantastic job with nailing Sasha, sort of like pretty much deconstructing the bossy bitch archetype friend character, like the bossy bitch friend. Like, they totally deconstructed it. You gotta admit.
You could actually just see that she could be a boss. I mean, she did boss Anne around. I don't know if she was gonna actually boss Marcy around or something. But we haven't seen that in the flashbacks yet. But yeah, I mean, now we have all three jewels filled up. Not Anne's. Anne's is still like a little bit kinky. It wasn't filled up entirely, but to say the least, the girls have been reunited. You get to see Anne, Sasha, and Marcy pretty much like all hang out. They had a dinner, and they also did have a battle of the bands, which I thought was a really epic episode, because it's just, are we really the three girls are like in a band again. They said they did a band before. But I love the fact that like Sasha broke up with the band, and then she made her own band, and then she got reunited with the band again to like put an epic performance. So how are you liking this chemistry now that they're reunited, about to head back to Newtopia for True Colors?
I really like how both the dinner and Battle of the Bands does show how it's going to take much more time than expected for Anne and Sasha to sort of rekindle their friendship. I do like how they don't rush immediately to become friends. Like I like how after the third temple, these episodes still show how it's not just resolved quickly in the flick of a switch. No, it takes time to build up. It takes time to resolve. It takes time to make things go back to the way they were. And I do love how the show presents friendship in such a realistic manner, which is one of the reasons I love this show. And also, it's also especially when they become a band, and Sasha doesn't like how Anne keeps rejecting her ideas, saying, maybe you should focus on this, focus on that. It shows how Sasha is losing much control over her friends than pre-Calamity Box era. So Sasha goes and forms her own band with Toady, but then Sasha learns a lesson as well, in that it's not always your way. It could be something others want to do as well. It takes compromise, and so I like how Sasha comes to learn that in the episode. Well, for now at least. And of course, I love the song. It's no big deal.
I love that song too. Yeah. Although yes. I love Sasha's song too. I'm a heart stomper. That. Oh,
heart stomper. I love that. Like I could just envision like I kind of want to see a spoof where Gloria sings heart stopper.
Oh my god. Like, oh, of course you would. Of course you would. Now you kind of want to like. Man. Anakana has been actually like your favorite voice actor right now. She's been voicing your favorite like girls at the moment. So,
well, In terms of big screens, yes. In terms of Amphibia,
Yes,
less.
I know Loud House is the Futterman, so
I like Sasha. I really do like Sasha. She's one of my favorites, but you know who my number one favorite is. Come on.
Of course, it's Luna Loud, but she's not voiced by the voice of Gloria or anything.
No, Marcy, Marcy in Amphibia.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Luna Loud. Like that's your top favorite character, I would imagine.
I'm talking about Amphibia, bro. I'm talking about Amphibia.
Okay. Of course. Yeah, of course. Marcy is your number one. Anna's still my number one still. And I'll get into why I say Marcy is like my second, third character right now, because we're going to go to True Colors after this. But yeah, the girls are reunited. I thought this was absolutely cool that they actually had this like episode where they like broke up and then came back with the band. Although it kind of sucks is that they lost to Grime.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, play a harp. The guy can play a harp.
I would have voted for Grime as well. Honestly, that harp was beautiful.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. At the end of this, they're reunited. They look like their friendship is like back together. Like they put all of the whole grudges aside, and it seems like they're ready to go home. And this leads up to our episode that we're going to be reviewing right now. I know it's an hour and 30 minutes, but this is pretty much a synopsis of like what we saw in season 1 and 2 of Amphibia. But now it's time for the real review itself. It is True Colors time. So, we got a lot to talk about, Omi. This is going to be a big ride, to say the least. This is going to be fun.
We're going to get to the main course now. We just got to the appetizers. Now it's time for the main course.
And here we go. All right. So I do want to talk to you about the first thing that popped up. Disclaimer. So first off, this episode got delayed for a couple of weeks because of a disclaimer talking about the final scenes of the finale. Of course, everyone got pissed because of this. And it was just look, there were just so many things that got bad. The episode leaked. A lot of people got really pissed about that. Even Matt Braley got pissed about that. It was just,
yeah, man.
To say the least.
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, to say the least, do you think it was Disney's fault that they did this? And do you think the disclaimer was necessary?
Yes, it was 100% Disney's fault, like all the way. I cannot believe how much they screwed over Matt Braley and his crew. Because, keep in mind, Matt Braley and his crew poured their heart and soul into this episode in particular. It was like the big season finale right there that we have been anticipating for, and Disney decided to be stupid with how they handled it. Like, disclaimer or not, like, just a fact, like, okay, it's not so much the delay, but it's how the delay was handled. It's pretty much how much the delay had a huge negative effect on, like, not just Matt Braley, but also the crew, also the fans as well, because chances are they might have gotten spoiled, due to some asshats who decided to watch the episode early, despite the fact that Matt Braley, the creator himself, told you not to watch it until it premiered on television, for frog's sake. And also, it's just the fact that, like, there were spoilers. Like, they decided to not just watch it, disrespecting its good name, but also, like, spoiling it for some reason. And because of that, like, I feel bad for some that got spoiled because they never got the true experience that they wanted. And honestly, this all ties back into Disney. Like, how Disney handled it was extremely poor. Like, not only did they do it last minute, but they also oh my god, it's just so ridiculous. Disney also decided to let the leaks go. Like, did they decide to just let the leaks? They decided to be on the leaks on the internet, just slide by, like, without giving a single warning.
This was Disney's fault for actually not, like, telling the people who released the episode, say, hey, hold your horses, because we actually haven't premiered it at Disney Channel yet. So that's where the leaks came from.
It's communication, Disney. What the frog? What the frog, Disney?
Last minute, yes. I do believe this is Disney's fault, because the thing is, you could have at least watched the episode before you actually put your commercial out. And also put the disclaimer that it was going to be some intense final scenes. Which, by the way, Omi, do you agree there were some intense final scenes?
Yes, they were, and that's why I adored this episode. We're gonna get to that later.
So to say the least, Disney did their part. They said, "Hey, this is gonna be scary for young viewers," which. Yes, it could be scary for young viewers because a lot of things happen in those final scenes of True Colors. So Disney did their part, but I believe it was just way too late. Well, it was just too late. It was like, yeah, if you didn't put the disclaimer, kids will come in and will get traumatized of what happened in the last moments of the episode. So, yeah, I think it was a good thing that Disney pulled it to leave it off for a couple weeks in order for this disclaimer to come up. But I think what you should have done, Disney, is actually, done it before you put a commercial out saying, hey, get hyped for True Colors, because we literally had to wait like 2 or 3 weeks to actually see the True Colors episodes. And thankfully, me and Omid, we did not watch spoilers, thank God, but we had to avoid Twitter a little bit because some of them are already putting it out there. I'm like, what the heck?
You know who you are. You know who you are.
No. I have a couple friends who already watched the leak. They're on Discord and stuff, and I was like, oh God, please don't put it on spoilers. And they put it on spoilers, and I'm like, oh boy. And I have to actually avoid Discord for like 2 or 3 weeks now until it premieres. That was just a lot of hell, to say the least.
Exactly. Like, now going back to the disclaimer itself. Now, despite the fact that delay was handled really poorly, once again, it's not the delay itself that pisses me off. It's how the delay was handled extremely poorly, Disney. I really love the disclaimer in this. And especially how it's Sprig that gives out the disclaimer, like narrates the disclaimer. I was like, thank you. Thank you.
Is there a point of why we need to have Sprig say this?
I think it could be because he's the main frog character or something. It could be the case, but either way, I'm happy there's a disclaimer in the first place because Disney, thank you so much for doing what every other executive at network should do when it comes to their intense episodes. Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, every other kids network out there, take note. This is how you handle intense episodes with a disclaimer. Because chances are if you don't, you're going to have soccer moms calling you non-stop.
Yep. You know it's going to be all bad. So to say the least, I just can't wait if Loudhouse or Casa Grande actually turns out with an intense episode and actually puts a disclaimer out, and you just hope that it actually is a intense scene or something. Oh no! What are the Louds? I don't know. That would be really bad actually if that happened. All right. Anyways, disclaimer aside, yes, the disclaimer was necessary, and I thought that was really necessary for Disney to do that, but it was way too late. Disney really mishandled it. Oof, that was a bad time, but to say the least, we waited 2 to 3 weeks. We didn't watch any spoilers. We were honest. We were honest to Matt Braley and the crew because of the hard work they've done and how much they promoted the heck out of True Colors. Because you already know with all the posts they put up, you know it's going to be a very exciting episode. So we had to be honest. Me and Omid didn't waited until it premiered on that Saturday, and boy, it was such a ride to say. Oh my God,
it paid off really well. It paid off really well.
Definitely did. All right, so let's start off with the True Colors. Let's start off in the beginning where we actually talk about Marcy's backstory. Oh my God, we actually have another backstory. This time actually talking in Marcy's side. So we get to see a flashback where we see Marcy before she was transferred to Amphibia, and from her end, it looks like she was dealing with something really bad. She actually was the one who wanted to pick up the chest. So explain your thoughts about Marcy's backstory here.
I thought that Marcy's backstory was very relatable and quite heart-wrenching when you do think about it. Because picture this. Like, you got your 2 best friends who are very close to you. You don't have anyone else but them who will stick by you no matter what. And then when you come home, you find out that your whole family has to move away to another state. Therefore, live very far away from the 2 girls. And then, of course, I can understand how Marcy feels because at the end of the day, like Sasha and Anne are Marcy's 2 true friends and those that do love and accept her for who she is, even with her geekiness and quirkiness. And so, of course, you see Marcy running out and crying, understandably so, because keep in mind, she's also a 13-year-old girl. And typically 13-year-olds aren't the biggest fans of moving away from their friends somewhere far away. So after Marcy stops running, she sees the Calamity Box, and then she remembers the page in which it says the Calamity Box can help travel to new worlds. Like, you could tell she's planning something big for herself. and something that's gonna help her in the long run.
Yeah, so I was pretty interested in like how Marcy's backstory was, because we never get to see the side of like what happened with the girls when before they went over to Amphibia. You get to see Anne, you get to see Sasha, and both of them were pretty much hanging out for Anne's birthday, but you never saw Marcy at all. So you get to see how Marcy is. She pretty much was studying in a library, and then got a text from Sasha saying like, "Hey, come on over to celebrate Anne's birthday," and then you got a text from her dad, and it turned out to be bad news. So she cried away weeping and stuff until she found that calamity box. And of course, after reading the calamity box, she was the one who actually told them to pick up the chest. And I didn't know about that. And I was like, Marcy, it was you, Marcy. Why did you do this?
I'm like, Marcy, you're my favorite character. I don't want to hate you. Please don't make me hate you, Marcy. You're my number one favorite character, okay? No, I never really hated her, even after what she did. Because I understood why she did what she did.
That was just really kind of sketchy. I was like, okay, yeah, she's a sweetheart. Yes, we saw this throughout all of season 2. And then she actually was the one who actually planned to say, hey, let's get this for Anne. Oh. Now we'll get to see. We'll talk about more why Marcy said that she wanted to pick up that chest and got them into Amphibia later. So let's move on ahead here. So actually, how did you like this backstory? Because it actually lined up everything of what happened before they went to Amphibia.
Oh, I really liked the backstory. I thought it was necessary to give some character development to Marcy, give her own side of things, because we've already seen Anne's backstory, we've already seen Sasha's backstory. Now let's focus on Marcy's. Like, let's have Marcy take the spotlight. And I do love how it's pretty much a scene that starts it all. Like, that really does connect to why Anne, Sasha, and Marcy are there in the first place. Like the very reason they even went to Amphibia in the first place.
Yeah, most definitely agree on that. I have to say, this lines up all the pieces, and now it kind of tells me like it just tells me like how the backstory is of how they got into Amphibia. And I'm like, okay, now we have somebody to blame. We have somebody to pretty much like get angry at. We have somebody to say, oh my gosh, she's innocent. She was innocent. But yeah, it just pretty much kind of sums up what happened. And now we're here in Newtopia, where all the 3 girls are back. They're about to be transported back to the human world until Sasha again stabs Anne's back. And she's about to rule Newtopia with Grime. Now, how do you think about Sasha after you saw that?
I was thinking to myself, dang, Sasha, I sort of knew that you were going to do this, but holy frog, girl. Like, the way you did it was like, whoo, boy. But then again, it's expected, given that it's Sasha's character. And as we've seen in Third Temple, she's not going to give up so quite easily on her goal that Anne and Marcy expected.
You know what? This is something that, after all of the episodes we saw recently, with Sasha being nice to the girls and, having a band episode, having them actually have dinner and actually rescue themselves from like lava in their own house, you thought that Sasha actually could have a kind heart and actually like, be nice. But, from that Third Temple episode where we get to see Sasha say, hey, I'm still going to rule over Newtopia, this is going to pop up. But I'm like, God, this is just so different compared to like Reunion. It's like, yeah, Sasha backstabbed Anne that time, and then she backstabs Anne this time, and it seems like Anne got more furious about this too, because it's like, wow, I trusted you now, and you still continue to backstab me. What the heck's wrong with you, Marcy? What the heck's wrong with you, Sasha? But yeah, it just made me feel like, okay, like I love Sasha when Battle of the Bands happened. Now maybe hate her again because what happened here? So what am I gonna do? How am I gonna feel about this now? Sasha's a weird character.
Honestly, like, this tells me something. This actually tells me one important thing. It's that she didn't quite learn anything from Barrel's Warhammer. Because when you think about it,
she hasn't, because she literally is still trying to be an authoritative character. That's the reason why, like, Braddock and I forgot the other toad, but
Percy and Braddock.
Yeah, Percy and Braddock. That's why they left, because you can't. They just lost trust in Marcy. Oh, sorry, lost trust in Sasha. Yeah.
For the record, I really like Percy and Braddock. Like, they were two really fun Toad characters, and I hope they come back in season 3. I really like them. But going back to Barrel's Warhammer, I actually consider Barrel's Warhammer to be also one of my favorite Amphibia episodes, mainly because of its ending. Because of the ending, it shows the consequences of acting so brashly and selfishly, going against your friends' wishes and stuff, like putting your own goals over the well-being of your friends. And because of that, Sasha lost 2 friends, which makes me think it sort of, foreshadows or parallels a future scene or future episode in which Sasha's going to pull the same stunt again, but with her 2 human friends, Anne and Marcy. And lo and behold, she does exactly that. So Barrel's Warhammer serves as a warning to Sasha that if she continues her brash behavior, if she continues her selfish behavior, she'll end up losing 2 more friends along the way. And wouldn't you know it, in this episode, it shows how history repeats itself in a sense, but through different actions.
I just feel bad for Anne, because Anne got so heated after what Sasha's been doing to her. I'm like, look, yeah, she could be bossy. Sasha could be bossy to Anne, but Anne's trying to stand up to her, and all the times that she's trusted Sasha, it turns out to be just all bad. So that she's going to a tipping point where she just gets so angry at Sasha that in the upcoming scenes she got really heated, and she even bopped a toad, literally headbutted a toad to get out of a capture or anything like that. So oof. Still though, my perspective on Sasha is okay, now I hate you again. Why are you trying to? Why am I so conflicted with her now? I'm saying, yeah, this is bad. I don't know. It just feels like this is the worst way to actually do it, especially when you're backstabbing Anne here. It's not as bad. It's not as bad as Reunion. I think this is worse.
Yeah, honestly, that's because here's the thing. At least with Reunion, it shows how, Sasha backstabs and goes against Anne once. But whereas here, it shows her backstabbing Anne twice. Meaning that, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you. That sort of thing.
Yeah. So
fool
it
me
kind of
once, fool me twice, sort of thing.
Yeah, it still feels kind of the same way. Yeah. But either way, Sasha took the chest. And Sasha was about to, I don't know, she was about to open the box and I think teleport them back to the human world, but it didn't work. So either way, and Marcy and the rest of the newts and planters pretty much got captured. And now it kind of, sorry, where am I at here? The newts, planters captured, and soon they would escape. Yet another battle with Sasha and Anne commends with a twist. How about King Andrias' plans? How'd you feel about that?
Yeah. The thing with King Andrias is that it wasn't all that surprising to me, and it makes me think, whoo, boy, King Andrias finally revealed himself. He's the big baddie,
Well, the thing is that there was little small snippets. There were little small snippets of how King Andrias was. You get to see see a little bit of it. Yeah.
Even before this scene, there were subtle hints, the chat in the ending of Marcy at the Gates and the ending of First Temple. So really, it's honestly not that surprising that King Andrias isn't quite the friendly big king that Anne first met.
No, so the thing is that, I don't know what, but it feels like the writers really did hide the villain all along, and they really did hide it really well with just the small snippets that you see with King Andrias and what he's doing. I mean, when you see the small snippets, you kind of feel that he was already evil, right?
Yeah, I did feel that, yeah. Honestly, I'm really glad that they built him up to be that. They built him up to be the big baddie, the big villain, and all that stuff. I just wish that, it would have been a total 180, pretty much pull the wool over the eyes sort of thing. But because of those subtle hints, I totally saw this villainy coming.
You know what? I mean, yeah, I saw that it was going to happen. It's just that now we get to see how the plans are, and now it's like, we have to warn. You have to make sure that the girls are safe. That's the reason why Sasha actually like really went a full 360 or 180, if you want to call it, and actually tried to save Anne. But it turned out to be another battle between Anne and Sasha. So, how did you like the whole battle between the two, especially with the fact that Andrias is evil?
Sasha, 2 swords. Sasha's got 2 swords now. Oh my god. Whereas in Reunion, Sasha had 1 sword to battle and Anne had 1 sword. Oh my god. Like True Colors, like it shows Sasha having 2. So this just goes to show that Sasha is stronger here than she was ever before. And what I do like is that how, Anne is done with Sasha. So even though Sasha is right about King Andrias, and she does try to warn her, like Anna's having none of it. Like Anna's having none of Sasha's shit anymore.
I know that Sasha is trying to like talk to her and just say like, hey, I know that we've just had like a grudging moment here, but you gotta listen to me. King Andrias is not who you think he is, and still like you just have the sense of why Anne is just continue battling Sasha just because you backstabbed me twice. Forget you. I'm out of here. I'm gonna make sure you get defeated. So this whole epic battle happens, and I thought that was just this is just typical. This is typical, and just saying like I'm gonna stand up to you no matter what. You backstabbed me twice, so I need to actually start, making sure you're defeated. While Sasha, who has been like evil all along, now actually found the truth, and now is trying to save the girls. So it's like again, whole 360. What's happening with Sasha? But this just tells me like my feelings are just way too off in this episode. I'm like, what? Now she's evil. Now she's good. Wait, what am I supposed to? Who am I supposed to cheer now?
I think that's what I like about Amphibia also is that the way the show writes these 3 girls, like they pretty much write them in such realistic and three-dimensional ways. Like they make them really dimensional and realistic, where each and every single one of them have their flaws and also their likable traits at the same time. Where you got Anne, who may be self-centered, but she has a caring heart. She cares about others. She's a loving type. With Sasha, you've got her who is pretty much the bossy, controlling type, yet she's very protective of her friends. And then you got Marcy, who, for reasons we're going to get into later, is very insecure and clumsy, yet she's very intelligent.
You kind of like had a little foreshadowing here because it is the next scene.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this epic battle was awesome. Also, I want to also put a heads up for the other battle that was also happening that time. Sprig versus Grime. How did you like that little battle they had together?
I really like that battle because it shows a 2-on-2 matchup where it's pretty much, Anne's best friend from Amphibia versus Sasha's best friend from Amphibia, like going head to head against each other. I've always been intrigued to see that because when you do think about it, like I said, it's Anne's BF, Anne's BFF, best frog friend, versus Sasha's BTF, best
toad friend.
Sasha's best toad friend. Like it's Anne's little brother versus Sasha's father figure.
I was actually pretty excited about this battle because it's like, yeah, Sprig, who only has a slingshot, versus Grime, who has the hammer. But it turns out that Sprig can actually hold a hammer properly and actually crush Grime.
I love that. I love it where Sprig with the slingshot like manages to pwn that big giant toad with such a big almighty hammer that could put Thor's warhammer to shame. Like wow. I love how Sprig like pretty much with the slingshot takes a shot at right in the bullseye, bullseye, or rather toad's eye. It's like, oh my good eye, where'd you go? I love that one.
It was so good. Oh my god.
Captain Grime, captain of the Toads, loses fight to a little kid.
And you know what? It ended up with Sprig winning. So to say the least, Grime and Sasha did get captured. The Toads didn't invade Newtopia, so all is good, right? No. So we would actually see King Andrias' plan, and it's all bad. It's all bad. Conquering worlds with the power of a box, including the human world. Not only that, but Marcy also has a secret as well.
Yeah.
Keeping the girls in Amphibia was her plan all along. So, how did you like this little sequence of reveals?
You know, I really love how this plot unravels itself. One of the best things about True Colors is that it's a plot point layered with another plot point. Like it's one plot on top of the other. It's not just one singular plot. Like the episode itself, for the first 5 minutes, does paint itself as a typical, stop the baddies, stop the rebellion, save the kingdom sort of plot, that generic cliche plot. But then no, like after Sasha and Grime get caught, after Anne and the gang succeed in freeing Andrias, like it actually shows how, the episode is actually much more than meets the eye. It's actually like, it reveals itself to be a much more bigger picture than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that came up to mind is like, yeah, we all knew all along that King Andrias was going to be evil all along, so he uses that box to pretty much conquer all the worlds. And I'm like, this apparently was a plan for years. Isn't Andrias like more than 1,000 years old or something?
Yeah, I love how there's many plot twisted turns also. Like it kept me engaged throughout. You never know what's gonna happen.
You're right. The final scenes make sense here now. It just makes sense how it gets all twisted and stuff. And now it just makes you think, oh my god, now we've been following with a king that was just so evil with the plan. Oh, and the other thing too also is the other thing that also got revealed, Marcy, who apparently I hate this so much, but she pretty much pulled the box so that she can keep her friends in Amphibia and, keep them in Amphibia. Wait a minute. What? I thought you wanted to escape. No. Marcy wanted them to be together forever in Amphibia. What? It got revealed. So I know Omin's a huge fan of Marcy, but when you heard that, how did you feel? How did your first reaction when you heard that?
I was like, Marcy, I love you, girl, but why? How could you do this? Like, that was my initial face right there. Like, that was my initial face too. I was like, what the heck? What the fuck? My favorite character was the cause of all this. My favorite character causing trouble. No, man, I ain't having that. No.
It was revealed. And now, now maybe we think like, what did Marcy do? Because you all think that she's just a sweetheart, but no, she did this. She purposely did this to make those three girls live together forever or something.
Well, that's the thing. I think what really works about this is that like it sticks to the title True Colors, because as we see in this episode, like True Colors means a lot of things. Like 1, it reveals Sasha's true colors at the beginning. 2, it shows King Andrias' true colors at the beginning. 3, it shows Marcy's true colors at the beginning. And 4, it all ties to the colors, the color gems of the Calamity Box. So I really do love how pretty much like True Colors, like that episode title is just so fitting for many, many different reasons.
Yeah. I gotta say this. I gotta say this though. It's absolutely just heartbreaking to actually see the fact that, when Marcy actually revealed it, it makes sense why Anne and Sasha actually, said, "Hey, why? How could you do this? I wanted to go home. I miss my mom. I miss everybody." And yeah, Marcy did this. She was pretty much the league reader of it all, and it just tells me like, okay, so I understand why Marcy had to do this, because she had that backstory where we actually see her, see her run away because she doesn't want to move. I think it's something with her parents, and it makes sense why Marcy doesn't want to leave, because she has already a great connection with Anne and Sasha. This connection has been long since kindergarten. So I can understand Marcy's insecurities here, where she just goes like, I planned this up because I want to live with y'all forever, and I don't want to, have any changes or anything like that. So yeah, I can understand in Marcy's point, but oof. I mean, it's kind of still is a little bit betrayal. The fact that you actually behaving like this, and actually not tell Sasha and Sasha and Anne about this.
Yeah, honestly, but like I said before, she was put in a tough spot where
Right.
where her dad basically said we're moving out, because like I said, for a girl like Marcy, it's hard to adjust to new environments because she's obsessed with like, games and fancy stuff and geeky stuff and all that. And Anne and Sasha are the two friends she has who accept her for who she is. So imagine moving to a new town where you don't know anyone, where you're too shy around anyone. Like that's going to be lonely for her, and she doesn't want to feel that. So
right.
Of course she has to do what she can in order to sort of make sure that they're together forever. She'll always be happy with company and all that stuff.
She wants to be happy with her friends, and you know what? It's her friends that she lived for like ever. I mean, like since kindergarten. So to say the least, I can understand Marcy's little aspect of why she had to do that. Like I said before, but like I said, it kind of got me like a little hole in the heart, just saying like, oh my god, she's such a sweetheart, but why would you do that to me? Why'd you hurt my feelings like this?
My god,
it literally
the
was
tears,
like that.
man. The tears, man. The Marcy's tears, bro.
Right.
Like,
I mean, like she doesn't want to be alone. I like the quote that she says at the end. It's like, I just didn't want to be alone, which makes sense. I mean, like you have your great friends with you, and you don't want to be alone in a new place. I understand that, but new changes and things like that. Maybe, well, then again, she's 13, so maybe she did this because of that said reason of her friends and all.
Yeah, I think like honestly, if I have to make a comparison, like this is very similar to Maple Pines with the whole weird beginning thing, also because
right.
What do you think about it? They're quite similar, and coincidentally, like both are my favorite characters from their respective shows. Like Maple Pines is my favorite Gravity Falls character, and Marcy is my favorite Amphibia character. But these two have a lot in common because they both can't deal with the reality that's gonna come, before them. At a very young age too, because Marcy's 13 and Maple is 12, turning 13. So they're both scared of having to be separated from their loved ones. So they pretty much do all they can in order to make sure that they stay in their little land forever, to make sure that they're always happy. With Maple, it was Maple Land, and with Marcy, it was Amphibia.
Yeah.
But then like both of them teach an important lesson that you can't just run away from your problems forever. You can't just run away from reality forever. Sooner or later you'll have to face it. And running away from this reality of yours, like in order to stay in your own little world forever, can have serious consequences.
Right. And the consequences were pretty much shown right after that reveal happened. So it makes sense why Marcy got pretty sad about it. Of course, how Sasha and Anne got really angry about that with her. So the thing is that we can talk more about this, but the thing is that look, there's still something going on. King Andrias' plan is still working all along. I mean, freak, his plan like literally burned down, like literally destroyed Toad Tower. So now we're literally dealing with some shit. And now
Toad Tower, why Toad Tower?
Now the thing is that they need to stop King Andrias. So they literally go back into battle mode where like you actually have Anne and Sasha actually teaming up together. And this battle, by the way, is just pretty epic. You got Sasha and Anne working together, to save their lives. You get to see other things that also happened as well. So Omin, explain how epic this battle was.
Oh, I loved it. Honestly, it gave me such Avengers Endgame vibes, where basically you got a group of protagonists, a group of good guys, facing off against a huge group of bad guys, of course, and then of course you got them working together. It's nice to see Anne and Sasha working side by side, like legitimately, because
okay. So can you say this? Is their friendship again like together? Are they friends again because of this?
For now. I'm going to say either it's a real legitimate friendship or it's going to be a temporary truce. Chances are it's going to be the latter. I also like how you see Hop and Grime working together as well.
Yeah, I thought that was actually pretty epic too. But then again, they know the plan now, so now you see like teams that you never expect to actually like hang out, like meet up together and actually work together to defeat King Andrias. So it's like, oh, Hop and Grime, okay, yeah, old Frog's going to face off with King Andrias. That's good.
You know what they are? They're the Suspicion Island duo. Because they both are addicted to the show.
That's true.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten a scene where Hop and Grime bond over Suspicion Island.
No, I don't know. They had nothing yet. Maybe it's season 3 when they actually meet up again. Maybe at the end of maybe at the end of the show. But other things also did pop up. Don't forget about this scene, by the way. Look who grew legs. Polly grew legs. Yes! Oh! She's growing, guys. She's growing.
She's growing up.
And she was also helpful too because she also did knock out the box from the pedestal. But then again, the castle was about to fall. But still, she's growing, guys. She grew. She's growing legs. Now she's gonna be a frog.
My favorite frog has grown legs, people. My favorite frog in this show has grown legs. To quote Hop.
So she has been. So she was very helpful in this part. That's for sure. Although what
little baby's got legs. My little baby's got legs.
Now the big epic thing about this too was that when Frobo was battling, but he got killed by King Andrias, which led to Polly growing her legs. Yeah, I know. It's also sad as well, but it wasn't as sad. We'll talk more later. There was also a big thing that also happened as well. I believe we almost lost Sprig. We almost lost Sprig.
Yeah, honestly, from that moment, the moment that Grime let Sasha go, I was like, no. The moment that Andrias let Sprig go, I was like,
no,
Sprig cannot die.
No, I literally was like, no, you can't let him die. No, he can't die. And I was like remember our chat when we were on Discord, like, no, he can't die. No, he can't die.
No, Sprig must live. Sprig must live. But then, like,
but go ahead.
But then, like, Marcy redeems herself by rushing to save Sprig. So good on her for that.
Although in the same scene as well, you get to see flashbacks of Anne and Sprig pretty much being BFFs, best frog friends. And I think it's because of that we ended up having a Sasha. We're having an Anne like super fight or something like that.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan. There you go. Oh, this part here I think was a little bit confusing, but I would imagine it was because of that whole gem which was not charged. It's the reason why she was acting like she's like this right now.
Yes. Let me just say, next time on Amphibia Ball Z, and his planters have been transferred to the human world. Frog robots are invading, and Anne is prepared to destroy them.
I'm guessing you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z or something.
I've never really seen Dragon Ball Z, honestly. I've just seen a few of the movies, but even then I could tell, yep, that's definitely a reference to Dragon Ball Z. I could tell Matt Burley must be a huge Dragon Ball fan.
He's a huge anime fan himself, so that makes sense why he, had some anime references in Amphibia. But the thing here is that, now we have a powerful Anne that, can be triggered anytime. Like, she literally beat up King Andrias, like punch him in the face, even protected, break his shield and stuff like that. So this Anne is awesome. And from what we saw in the season 3 trailer, it seems that she's going to be appearing more often. So I'm like, okay, I love this version of Anne, and you know what? I hope we get to see. We're obviously going to see more of her, and I'm like, okay, cool. I love this Anne. It's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah, and especially the animation. The animation with Super Saiyan, it is top notch. Like, it is Amphibia animation at its best because it's so colorful. It's so vibrant. It's so, how should I put this? Like, it's just so fluid. Like, honestly, the animation, you could tell they went all out with it. Like, the movements feel really smooth too.
It does. I don't know what they really did all out when it came to the animation of that, and it just tells me, like, if they're going to continue on with the animation like that, then tells me that Amphibia is going to be like one of the top-notch season enders for sure in part 3. Okay, so the epic battle happens. We get to see Anne beat up what was it? King Andrias. Marcy did rescue Sprig, so Sprig's okay. And
yes!
and And now we have to actually head up to the final scenes because, yeah, we have been warned that it was going to be epic. I mean, yeah, the battle pretty much was epic. I would imagine the Sprig falling down scene was also probably traumatizing for kids. So what happened at the end here, well, if I can sum it up, Marcy opened a portal, told Anne and the planters to go, and then, oh boy, I'm going to cry. That happened. That happened. Oh, my heart's racing right now. That happened.
Damn it, Nate! What?
I have ice cream. If y'all want ice cream.
I can't right now. I can't even look at this.
Here, I had to like remove myself for silence.
Just my god. King Andrias, I hope you perish, King Andrias. I hope you perish.
Fuck. No. I literally like when that happened, I was like literally talking to you, and I was like, "Fuck! What happened? No! Don't tell me she's dead! Don't tell me she's dead! No!" So I understand now. Now you understand the disclaimer. Now it makes sense why this had to pop up. Oh boy, yeah, she got stabbed. Yeah, she's probably dead by the end of this. Okay, I'll stop the picture because y'all gonna cry. Anyways, are you okay? Or you want some time right now?
Okay, I think I'm done.
So that was like 1 minute of probably a lot of kids getting traumatized. Anyways, so what was your initial reaction when you saw this moment?
All I can say is I could definitely see why they put a disclaimer there because of that scene. Because, oh my god, Marcy got impaled. Why?
I know. No. That was tragic, and I never expected to actually see that from Disney. Like they actually allowed a dying like that. I'm like, wow, we're at that level, aren't we?
and especially how she dies, like the way she wallows in tears, full of guilt over causing everything. Her last words were, and I quote, "I'm sorry for everything."
Yes, and then you just see her collapse, and it just tells me that she may have died.
I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for everything. I was like, Marcy, no, don't do it.
Oh my god, but I can't explain it. Like, wow, like I understand Marcy did some bad shit, but her sacrificing herself to get Anne and the planters out of there. Oh my god, like it was epic to say. Like, no doubt about it. You never expect to see that in an ending of a season finale like this. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Now we're really dealing with some deep shit. Now I'm really interested in how Amphibia goes now.
Yeah.
But in a way where you're like your favorite character dies like that, I'm like, oh no. Not like this. At what cost? Not like this.
Anything but that, man. But like I said before, this goes back to what I was saying about True Colors being such an intense episode, and that's why it's honestly the best. Because not only does it work like in terms of driving the plot, in terms of plot development, but also in terms of character development and how much of an emotional roller coaster it is. Like, honestly, this pulled off some really big emotions out of me. And honestly, what I like about this is that it doesn't take the easy way out. It doesn't pull a cop out or anything. It takes risks. This episode takes actual risks that you rarely see Disney Channel cartoon episodes do. I mean, Disney Channel cartoons, like, they have taken risks with their writing. They've had deep writing before, dark writing, but not as much as this one did. The closest is, like I said, not what he seems.
Right. I just cannot believe like how epic this was. Like, everything from this episode was just so like heart-wrenching, and it's just going to it's going to get much better and better now because of what you just pretty much unveiled in True Colors. Like, okay, you're just hoping that they were going to escape from from Amphibia, but no. Now you have 3 different side stories that are going on right now. Like Anne is back home, Sasha is leading a rebellion, and Marcy is dead. I don't think. Well, not. I don't know. What do you think? She's
unconscious. Dead or not? I want to say unconscious. I don't want to believe she's dead. I really, really don't.
Do you think that she actually might become like the same old Marcy if they actually rescue her?
I think chances are, if they end up rescuing her before King Andrias gets to her, then yes. I think with the help of Maddie, because keep in mind, Maddie is the one who likes to resurrect people, likes to resurrect different creatures. So I think like with Maddie's help, because keep in mind, Marcy and Maddie shared a bond before. Like she would want to resurrect Marcy because she helped her out. So
yeah,
in return, Maddie has to help Marcy out in return.
So is that reason why we have an episode of Maddie and Marcy together? Because it seems like if that's the case, then it makes sense why Maddie would be the one to help resurrect Marcy if it ever comes to it, that is.
Honestly, if this really does happen, then that means that, Marcy and Maddie is more significant than ever before. Like if that actually does happen, that episode will hold major significance to the episode as opposed to just being filler for Marcy. You know what I mean? Because it's going to actually help play a crucial plot point in season 3, hopefully.
Hopefully, indeed, yeah. So, that was pretty much it for Amphibia. You have Anne and the Plantars pretty much now in Los Angeles, and that's how it ended. So, usually at the end of our reviews, you usually give a rating, but we already know what our ratings are going to be in this episode. Omi, just go ahead and say it. Yep. I give the same thing too. 10 out of 10. It definitely was epic as heck. It made me want to watch Amphibia more. It was so good. Everything was placed properly in this. Everything was all the twists and turns, all the things that you thought about that you were going to come into this finale was all changed because of this episode. And now it gives you a very broad perspective of what season 3 will be. So no doubt about it. 10 out of 10.
Definitely a 10 out of 10 for me too. Like I said, everything about this this season finale just works perfectly. Like the amount of risks it took, it doesn't take the easy way out. Like even though it's a cartoon about talking frogs, when it gets real, when it gets like emotionally heavy, it gets real and emotionally heavy.
It definitely did.
The amount of color, and I like how each action has a consequence. It's never a cop-out. Each action has a consequence. And also Marcy's backstory, the amount of fluid animation, the amount of emotional depth, just the amount of one plot point layered after another plot point. Just everything about this works. And everything about this, like pretty much elevated Amphibia even more to be one of the greatest Disney Channel shows of all time. Because of this episode. Like I still say, I'm gonna say this again, spare word worth repeating. It's the best Amphibia episode I've ever seen, and it's honestly like the best Disney Channel episode since Not What He Seems. It is that perfect.
I have to say this though, it is in a level where I'm kind of like, what makes it what makes it the best Disney Channel show? And I believe like something like this season finale kind of puts it up on that level. I'm like, oh, I'm shocked, I'm shook, I'm crying, I'm emotionally scarred for what I saw in this episode. So to say the least, now that we're going into part 3, all things are off the table. Anything can happen pretty much. Anne is in Los Angeles. We've said this already. Anne is in Los Angeles, Sasha leading rebellion, and Marcy pretty much in a coma. But there's just so much to decipher now. And this is great, by the way, because we understand why Disney did this, because they need to pull the episode because of this disclaimer, because of the whole final scenes, and it makes sense because you literally had a person stabbed to death. Now, what was the treat because of the delay was that we actually did have a preview of season 3 with the introduction to season 3, and for you guys who are watching still. We're going to show it to you guys, and then after that, we're going to see our predictions of season 3 of Amphibia. Okay, so that is your season 3 preview, by the way. So there's a lot to decipher here. Seems that let's just get off the bat here. I mean, when you saw the season 3 introduction, what are your thoughts, and how do you think season 3 is going to play out?
Okay, first thing I have to get out of the way first is that Anne is a Californian, baby. Woo! California represent, baby.
By the way, we're Californians, by the way. So yeah, California represent.
Woo! Now, onto the preview. Now, all I'm going to say this is that, you know, are we really going to have to wait 1 more year for this? Come on, who knows what that'll be?
I'm like you. I'm like you right now. And I'm like, where is it? Like, can we have it now? Can we like get it released now? Because I am so excited to see how season 3 goes. And you drop us with this introduction, and I'm like, okay, we need to see this immediately, but we are waiting probably winter of 2022 for us to actually watch it. So we gotta be patient for this now.
It's kind of hard to, when you just saw the previous season 3 of what's to come, and you're just wondering like what's gonna happen next. You know what I mean? But onto the preview itself. Now, I really like this preview. It was really promising because I like how it's the same intro, but it takes place in a different world. Whereas like the previous 2 seasons, it was Anne learning to adjust to Amphibia. Here, it's somehow like, you know, Anne and the planters switch positions. Like it's a role reversal where you got the planters trying to adjust to the human world, and it's Anne who has to show them the ways of the human world. Oh God, I see that ice cream cone there somewhere. I see that good chocolate chip ice cream cone.
I just had the chocolate chip ice cream. I just had the chocolate chip ice cream. Stop torturing me.
Damn it, Matt Braley. I see what you did there, man. How dare you do this to my heart, man?
Oh my God, this is so foreshadowing or something. Anyways, what else can you say about this preview?
Okay,
or is that
so I like how like the preview still shows Anne and the planters going through typical shenanigans. Like they're being chased by the FBI. They're being chased by intelligence services.
And it makes a lot of sense because it's like have talking frogs in Los Angeles. Okay, it makes sense why a lot of people are going to be so suspicious about why these frogs are like roaming around like this.
And then you got Sasha's road to redemption by having her form a rebellion against King Andrias, going to save Marcy. I really like that too. It shows me that, you know, Sasha's really gonna redeem herself, and I mean truly redeem herself. Like she's gonna stick to the good side. She's not gonna switch to the bad side again, obviously, because we know now that they're fighting against the big bad evil that is even bigger and badder than Grime and the Toads themselves. And also, my precious baby girl in the tube. Oh, Marcy is unconscious in the tube.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyway, you know, Sasha, please impale King Andrias for me. Please impale King Andrias. Give him a taste of his own medicine. Come on. Make it poetic justice.
There's a lot to decipher from this season 3 trailer. Now, the thing is that it's going to be quite I believe we're going to have like different aspects of season 3 where we're going to see like Anne's perspective, Sasha's perspective, because we'll get to see Anne like maybe like in one half of the episode, Anne is pretty much adjusting to Los Angeles, you know, meeting up with her parents again. I don't know how the reunion is going to be. It kind of makes me feel like, you know, Anne will just come up to their doorstep to the Boon Choi house, and obviously the mom and dad are gonna be like epically crying because it's like, oh my God, where is our daughter?
And then the first thing Anne's gonna do is say, frog family meet human family, human family meet frog family.
I'm pretty sure like you know, Anne's mom and dad are going to be freaked out about it. Like, why are they talking? So I would expect a big. The first episode would probably going to be a big interaction between like the Boon Chois and the planters. So expect that to happen. But throughout their time in LA, I would imagine like Anne trying her best to actually hide the fact that the planters are here, that they're actually talking, they're amphibian, etc. And because and you're right, because there's a lot of people that are trying to chase them down. So, you know, I believe that this is going to be a huge thing where like you have to hide the planters because they are frogs, talking frogs, literally in Los Angeles, maybe running amok us, and they're probably going to be like captured for scientific experiments. That could probably be a key point there. Obviously, another thing too is that they need to get back to Amphibia. So how are they going to do that? They don't have the box anymore. So how can Anne the planters plan something up for them to actually get back to Amphibia? So that's something to definitely think for. Another thing I also wanted to point out, and you didn't point this out yet, Omid, there's some new characters that we should actually talk about. We got obviously the Moon Choice, obviously.
Yes.
But who are the rest of them? Who are the rest of these guys? I don't know, like these two girls that were in front of us, they look pretty cute and looks like they're going to be helping Anne. I don't know if they're actually like students in Anne's school. I would imagine them being like, how do I say this? I would imagine them being like some random people that they saw in the news. Like they saw the news and they saw like, oh my God, these weird frogs. Okay, let's help this girl out. So they're probably going to help her out. I don't know who that girl in the middle is. It seems that she's just a person who's going to help. But the other thing too is like the person with the ice cream truck and the guy who looks like RuPaul. Okay, I don't know why they're part of the cast. Aren't they supposed to be the people who are actually supposed to like research the planters or something? So there's just a lot of things to think about here.
It really is, yeah. And I can't wait to see each and every single one of them in season 3 and how they're gonna write these characters, because when you look at these casted characters, they actually look quite colorful and look very creative. Like honestly, they're just as diverse and just as unique as the cast of frog characters back in Amphibia. All I'm saying is that to the Amphibia writers, to Matt Rayleigh, I trust that you don't do this, but please do not waste their potential. Like actually, honestly, if you're going to show us these characters, if you're going to, give us a sneak peek of these cast of characters, make sure they're all memorable and they all serve a purpose to the story.
Right. And I believe they will be, especially in this last part of Amphibia. Now, the other thing too is that, Andrias can also summon things to the human world, because it seems that he can do things to the human world, actually unleash robots and stuff. So I'm kind of wondering, does he have his own portal? Does he have his own portal to actually bring stuff to the human world, or actually are they in the same world together? I don't understand particular like how this goes.
Oh man, look at that! It's his friends on the other side. He's got friends on the other side. Keith David, yeah.
That makes sense because he's freaking King Andrias.
King Andrias has got his own friends on the other side as well.
Are you ready? Now it makes me want to sing that song now.
Yeah. King Andrias is asking Anne, are you ready?
Now, okay, one more thing I also want to bring up, and I know that you've said this already. Obviously, what's going to happen to Sasha, because she's pretty much stuck in a tube, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be in a tube. She's stuck in a tube for the whole entire season.
Oh! Why
She's going to cry again. That? Oh, no. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know.
Look, he had a moment where we saw her stabbed, okay? So, oh man, this is terrible.
Even she's not dead, it still hurts to see my girl like this. Dang it, Andrias, I hope you die. I hope you get killed.
Yes, I hope so too. Hopefully, Sasha does that and then redeems her friendship with Anne. Oh my god! But yeah, look, I have a feeling that that Marcy's not going to be in any way or form going to be a part of this season 3, or maybe she might come back and then the rest is a rescue mission now. It's obviously destroy King Andrias or do something to King Andrias to stop his plan, but that is also another priority too, to rescue Sasha, to rescue Marcy.
Rescue Marcy like as soon as possible. # save Marcy.
And you just hope she's the same old Marcy after she gets out of that tube.
Yeah, honestly, all I gotta say is, I hope that King Andrias doesn't get to her and do something unthinkable towards her. Like,
oh my god, please no.
You know how in Rick and Morty, remember when Tammy pretty much killed a bird person before pretty much making him into a phoenix person? I don't want to just do the same thing to Marcy, man.
Oh god, I've seen a lot of fan art of that though. I've seen a lot of fan art where like, Marcy after like she gets out of the tube, Marcy becomes like that one red eye, becomes evil or something like that. I'm like, oh,
Like,
I just hope it's not that way.
I don't want Marcy to be a killing machine. She's too pure. She's too innocent.
I know, but she did make a mistake. So she did make a mistake.
Innocent to some degree. Innocent to some degree.
I'm just saying though, like, I hope Marcy's alive. I hope she's good, not evil, and like siding with King Andrias. Because I swear to God, if they actually like sacrifice Marcy at the end of this, at the end of season 3, I'll be like, bruh, this is so epic. How can this be a kid show? How the hell can this be a kid show?
Yeah, but like that's what I love about this, like even though it's a kid show, it's not afraid to go into heavy territory. That's what I love about this show. It took risks and it succeeded in taking risks.
And it did, and it made us talk about probably the most epic season finale we've had in a Disney Channel show like ever. I've never seen like any other epic like season finales since I would imagine We Again it would be that one too.
No, even with We Again, I feel that even True Colors even surpasses We Again, in my opinion. It even surpasses that. Well, and that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
Well, to say the least, though, season 3 of Amphibia will be coming out. We don't know when, but I'm pretty sure it will be end of 2021.
The sooner the better. The sooner the better.
So that's a bet, really. Matt, if you're watching our stream right now, please listen to us. They get it out immediately, or probably tell Disney Channel to say, "Hey, get it out immediately." This is so good. This was such a good epic season finale, and I can't wait for more season 3. That's for sure.
Same here, man. Same here.
All right. So any final thoughts about Amphibia before we close up the stream tonight?
Yes, I love Amphibia. I really do. It's a series it's a series that ends up being much more. It's a series that ends up being much more than just a cartoon about a girl with talking frogs. Like, it has so much great character depth. It has so much great writing, and it has so much, like the amount of realism, like how they portray these girls, how they portray these characters, and how they portray these relationships. It's done in such a realistic and such a well-written way. You know what I mean? And of course, True Colors. What more can I say about True Colors? Like, it's pretty much put Amphibia in its peak.
I gotta say this though, it absolutely was such a ride. You remember when I said in the beginning that I thought season 1 was just an sort of thing, but then after like watching the end of season 1 and then getting into season 2, and I just got like addicted to it. Like, okay, there could be a little bit of small little side stories, but to say the least, it was just so epic to see everything pretty much all what you see in season 2 pretty much all come together to a season finale like True Colors. Become such a big, amazing episode. So to say the least, it was great. It was just amazing. Just to I'm still in a mix of words. I'm still in a mix of emotions of what I saw in True Colors. But bro, that was like the most epic season finale ever for Amphibia, and I'm so happy that I was able to watch it.
Another thing too is the world building. My God, it has some of the best world building I've ever seen. For a world that is based around frogs and toads and newts, they made the world building like just so grand. It's just they made it so majestic, so colorful. Just like everything like in Amphibia, from Wartwood to Toad Tower to Newtopia. Oh my God, it is just done with such excellent detail, and it helps with such beautiful animation.
The animation is absolutely top tier, and I have to thank the crew, thank Matt Braley, thank pretty much everybody who was pretty much working on Amphibia to make it like so good with Disney Disney Channel's like aspect. Like, you don't see things like this in like Disney Channel shows or like any cartoons recently. Like, no doubt about it, I think Disney Channel is being top tier at the moment with their cartoons with like Owl House, Big City Greens, and this show in particular, Amphibia. So
big 3, baby. Big 3,
baby. Their big 3, and no doubt about it, it absolutely works. So yeah, that was pretty much it for our stream. 2 hours and 35 minutes we were in this, but you know what? We discussed a lot about Amphibia. There's a lot that we had to discuss about this because it was so good, and we just can't wait for season 3. Hopefully, we can see it soon. All right, but that's pretty much it. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching the stream. This is absolutely a different stream, obviously, because this is not our Loud House and Casa Grande's talk. This is our little special review of Amphibia True Colors. And for those and for those who watched throughout the whole thing, we thank you so much for being a part of the stream. Do want to let you guys know we're going to go back into our Loud Casa Talks in 2 weeks when we talk about Lynn Jr. and her future. And we also are going to come back on Thursday to talk about a mini episode. We're going to have a mini episode. We're going to be talking about the newest Casa Grandes episodes that came out. What was it? Saving Face and Matters of the Cart. We will also preview Chancla Force and Fluff Love as well on Thursday. But to say the least, it was a great night for you Amphibia fans. Continue to be Amphibia fans. Continue your fan arts. Continue to be like awesome. And we totally support you because we love the show. And FYI, if you actually want us to review like anything else, like Owl House or any other cartoon that can interest us, let us know. Like, be on YouTube and comment and say like, hey, why don't you review Owl House for us? Why don't you review BoJack Horseman or some other things like that? And then we'll think about it and we'll probably do a special episode just like this. So yeah, your voices do matter. And like I said, do whatever you can, and we could probably do a review for you guys.
Yeah, honestly, you just say the word, guys, because like, we love you guys so much. We love you as friends, as fans, and as our friends, and as our fans. Like, we totally love and support you. So yes, he's right. Your voice does matter. And honestly, I really do like to do more of these kind of episodes where we take a look at other shows besides the Loud House of Casa Grandes. I love Loud House of Casa Grandes, but it's nice to sort of like put them aside for a bit to like talk about like other shows that we love as well. So yes, we are definitely open to more non-Loud House and Casa Grande episodes. You just let us know.
All right, and that was pretty much it for our stream. We can't wait for season 3. Amphibia is awesome, and it's the best girl. And I'm sorry, Marcy. Oh my God, Marcy's dead. I'm sorry.
Marcy's so best girl.
Marcy's dead though. Marcy's dead though.
All Marcy stands rise up. All Marcy stands rise up.
All right, but that's pretty much it. We're about to leave Mortwood. Oh, sorry, we're about to leave Newtopia. We're headed back to our respectable Royal Woods and Great Lake City after this stream. But anyways, thank you very much for checking out the stream. My name is Nate.
And this is Omid saying thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, Toads.